Good evening, everybody, and welcome back slightly later than usual, thanks to the pesky real-life Formula 1 action to the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. Yes, it is your Saturday evening serving once again of sim racing spectacle, and very much this week, shenanigans. We'll get into all of that in due course. Just 4 weekends to go of the season, and the championship battle, well, it is hotting up very, very nicely. Just a solitary point separating the top two in the standings, and the top six covered by just 20 points. So it is perhaps fitting, of course, that with so much on the line, we head to the bustling heart of championship chaos. It's Brazil, it's Sao Paulo, it is Interlagos. If you want a place to tear up the playbook of predictability, there's no better location. With a sprint race and a qualifying wildcard that is definitely the definition of wild, that will very much shake up the apple cart. Stay tuned, folks. This should be very, very exciting. But before the cars hit this hallowed ribbon of racetrack, I think we should have a quick look around the Creator Series paddock for this evening's action, starting off with the man commandeering Clipbook Corner tonight. It is the wonderful Tom Knight, TK alongside me. Interlagos, a place that needs absolutely no introduction, I'm sure you'll agree. And with the ingredients we've got on the Creator Series recipe this evening, the form book might be best suited to a place in the bin.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Tom. Fantastic to be alongside you once again, and hopefully going to bring all the action from behind the scenes. So what is, well, a tale of championship contenders' nightmares from seasons gone by.
100%. Incredible track. We know the law of Brazil in Formula 1. Even on the game, it does produce some very exciting racing. Weather as well. There have been a few showers in real life. What are the expectations potentially that we could see something similar that will really shake up the order?
Yeah, you never know. Rain at Brazil is almost as in-tuned as the chicken and the egg toast. Which quite came first? I'm not entirely sure. But if we do see a downpour of the wet stuff, I'm sure a few drivers will have some stern words to say.
100% chaos on the track. Probably means tension in the championship table, because the picture is anything but clear at the moment. If we do head over and have a look at the standings as they currently sit, we have four former champions that fill the top four spots. However, none of them paraded on the podium 7 days ago. Datgar Vince in 5th finished 3rd. London Ober in 6th finished 1st, meaning that just 20 points separate our 6 leading runners, TK.
Yeah, it's a really, really close championship fight. And look at the difference between Razin Chai all the way down to Lolly Nova. 1 point separating 3 drivers. So it is still all to play for, and so close at the top as well. Just a point between Gillen and Meraki. So who knows? With just a few races left, I think the title is quite possibly anybody's.
100%. So much at stake. We've obviously got a wild card coming in qualifying, but with the realistic performance, another factor that will shake things up is some of the car selections that should muddy the waters we would expect. Let's take Kareem 17, for example, still skippering that Silver Arrows car that he was absolutely rapid in 7 days ago in Qatar. Unfortunately fell on the wrong side of misfortune. And we have also seen interloping appearances from McLarens, from Red Bulls in there as well. So those extra bodies being added into the lead fight makes it even more congested than it already is.
Yeah, I think it's really going to be an interesting one today, because you look at the likes of Gillen Chai, the stallions that are pretty much steadfast in the Saumas at this point, but, you know, a few, I don't want to call them wild cards because they're anything but in this series, but you've got the likes of Tim Mardick in the Racing Bulls looking rather quick, Concept 7, who's had a fantastic midpoint of the season, who steps into a Ferrari, and Fabio back in his old stern favourite of the Williams.
100%. I think he's just delighted that he's got a seed that doesn't put him in a hat, because he wasn't very pleased when he was driving that car earlier on in the season. So much at stake and so much still to play for, like you said. But let's move away from the standings and have a little bit more of a gander at the paddock that we've got operating this evening. From Clipbook Corner, I think we should take a look at the commentary box. The voices of the Creator Series tonight, I'm delighted to say, Kieran McGinley and Carl Paranek are the men on the mics this evening. Kieran, I'm going to start with you. Now, wildcard chat. I'm incredibly keen to get your thoughts on the wildcard tonight. We've had some creative ones in the Creator Series over the years, but this one feels like something on a completely different plane.
It's a case of making sure you play your cards right and don't go bust. You're in the casino. It's 21 here. You cannot afford to go any further under than what you need to. Go quicker than that lap time, and there's no way you can get any closer to it. So it really is a case of making sure you get the gamble in there and play your cards right, because that's going to decide how far up the grid you go. I mean, for some of our drivers here, once they get an idea of what lap time they're looking for, should change the landscape massively for quali. I'm looking forward to it.
100%. And if you did miss the announcement on what the wildcard for this evening is, closest to a target time in qualifying set by our very own Hayden Gullis will take pole position. If you're quicker than the time that is set by Hayden, and we'll watch a video of that post the sprint race coming up in a few minutes' time, that will be your best effort. So it is your fastest time in qualifying and the closest to the pole time that will determine our grid for the 71-lap race that awaits us. That could be very, very interesting. I mentioned it there, Carl. We've got a sprint race first since Monaco. I doubt it's going to be quite as chaotic as what we saw a few weeks ago when we jumped into the F2 cars, but it's always going to be impressive, isn't it? We've got the leading contenders at the back, the fast cars starting at the front with the way that the realistic performance works now. This is a huge opportunity for someone to emerge from the pack and also lay a very key marker down to some of the big guns.
Of course, I completely agree with you. Hello, everyone, by the way. I'm glad, Tom, I got your email, by the way, in terms of the attire situation for the evening. It's very good of you.
Matching. It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I think it must have got lost for Kieran and TK, but it's okay. It's going to be really interesting tonight, I think. The main thing I think we've seen this season is there hasn't been a real breakaway superstar this season. There's always been ebbs and flows in terms of the form. I mean, you can see it, like you say, you see it in the championship standings. Only 20 points cover the top 6. And of course, the car changes have shuffled hands as well. You've got now Gillen still in the Sauber, which is gutting for him in his pursuit, but it didn't go all that badly. He still outscored Meraki last week, who is in that same familiar car of the Haas that he was in Qatar. It's going to be really interesting. Depending on how the pendulum swings, could be a huge, huge result for anyone in that championship fight currently. But in terms of previous winners at Sao Paulo, in the main event that is, only one driver has won multiple times in Creator Series history, and it's the only one of them that's still on the grid today. That man, Alex Gillen.
Beware Alex Gillen. Of course, didn't win last week at Qatar for the fan vote, but did come into that race on the back of back-to-back victories. Kieran, I want to have a chat with you as well about the championship standings and where we're looking at, because it was a bit of a tricky one for the 4 main contenders, the 4 former champions that currently lead the way. Meraki has had a bit of a sticky time since he won back in Singapore, round number 3. Hasn't finished on the podium since. Has only finished inside the top 8 once since that victory. He needs to try and arrest that little slump, almost Oscar Piastri style, from real life. Alex Gillen, we know, has got the pace. We've seen it time and time again. Tiermat Malik has been a little bit up and down, as he has been on the whole of F125. And Razin Chai is another one. Hasn't been around too much, but it's almost been all or nothing for Razin.
Yeah, it's been a wild one. I mean, last time out in Mexico really did help Meraki keep a hold of this championship lead. That's the main thing. With Meraki scoring 8 points, Alex Gillen scoring 12. Brought it down to 1 point between them. Meraki could have so easily lost the championship lead last time out. He didn't. But again, the last time he won was at Singapore. I was part of the broadcast now. I was part of the broadcast then, part of the broadcast now. Meraki, look, I'm the lucky charm. You know, treat me well, you'll be absolutely fine. But yeah, it's been really, really good. And the fact that we've got Lolinoba, who, you know, 2 podiums in the last 3 races for Lolinoba so far, has been in incredible form. And I wouldn't be, you know, too far suppressed to say that he could make some real inroads in trying to catch the ones at the top. It's been so topsy-turvy. And, you know, the only repeat winner I think we've had has been Alex Gillen so far this season, such as how close this has been. It's been great to watch. It's been great to see how it all plays out. And we've still got plenty of races to see what our drivers can do.
100%. Just waiting for the last of the drives to load in. So, Carl, I'm going to keep the topic of conversation on Lolinoba because he jumps from a decent car into the Haas, which has had very mixed reviews so far this season. Some say it's the worst car on the grid. Some say it is a little bit better than the Sauber, fairly similar to the RB. How do you think that change in equipment will affect his approach coming into this one? Because he is now realistically 20 points back. He's in a championship charge.
It is, for sure. Absolutely. And it kind of depends how you approach it, really. Whether his mindset's going to change coming into this week, knowing that there is a real opportunity. I think the main thing to highlight from all of that is just how well he's driven this season so far. Obviously, he's been given some decent machinery beforehand, but the V-carb in Qatar, that was no fluke, in my opinion. He drove an impeccable race, particularly in that last stint, and it's just a testament to how well he's driving so far. Yes, he's in the Haas this week. It's uncharted waters for the Italian stallion, or at least one of our Italian stallions, on the grid, but I see personally no reason why he can't put on an almighty charge here in Interlagos.
Well, let's wait and see. Sprint race coming up first, of course. If we can try and get some predictions in and bring TK onto the scene as well, because I like to embarrass all four of us when we're on the panel. I'm going to start with you, Kieran. Let's get predictions for the sprint quali and for the race as well. Maybe three different names.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to go... who's good around Brazil? Alex Gillen. I would be hard-pressed. Even though we'll see in the sprint he's starting from a long, long way down. We've already seen how good he can be at charging his way through the field. Maybe would he be sprint race winner? Not so sure, but hey, I'm just going to roll the dice out there and say last to first challenge, Alex. You can do it.
Big fan of that one. Carl, echoing any similar thoughts?
To be honest, yes. I think, if Alex Gillen has proved anything, he's proved that sometimes patience is a virtue. So I see no reason why he can't pull off something absolutely miraculous. I think sprint-wise, keep an eye on the likes of Safso. I think Safso's got a great chance in the sprint. Got to keep out of trouble in those first few corners. If you can do that, though, sky's the limit.
And TK as well. You were there for the last sprint race in Monaco, along with Carl. Any potential inklings of what's going to happen?
I think the general consensus is if you start from the front in the sprint race, you've got such a great advantage. I'm going to rule out Chesnoid Gaming from what happened in Monaco. I won't have too many conversations about that. I'm going to go for a bit of a wild card here. Krim 7T starts from 5th place in the sprint. I think he'll be able to go on to get the win there. Pole position and win in the main race. I think I have to give it to Gillen. He's just been a dominant force when we go to Interlagos.
100%. Well, the sprint is very nearly upon us. You have two of the best in the business that will be guiding you through it, Kieran McGinley and Carl Pranick. But first of all, I think with Kieran, we should have a look at the grid that will set us up for our sprint race.
We absolutely should. So let's dive into it then and start with the very back of the grid, of course. We've got, of course, both Saubers who will be starting at the back then. Alex Gillen, currently second in the championship, starting alongside Razin, who's fourth in the championship, both looking to make inroads in their respective championships. Row 9 sees the hearses of Lolinoba and Meraki. Meraki, our championship leader by just a single point, and Lolinoba in a fantastic grain of form. Then we've got the racing balls of Tiamat Marduk and that guy Vince. Tiamat Marduk third in the championship, 13 points away from that championship lead. Can he make inroads today? 7th row of the grid sees Formula Kai and Skyzy in the Alpines looking to make their way up through the order. Skyzy's looking to try and get some very, very important points going into today. Then it's the Aston Martins on row 6, Dark Viper GT and Alex Can't Drive. Alex will be hoping that name doesn't come true and you'll be able to score some valuable points in today's sprint. Then we have the Williams, Ricky 03 and Infratic sharing row number 5. Infratic 10th in the championship so far. He'll be looking to see what he can do today. Row number 4 sees the Ferraris of Safso and Concept 7, who has been in good form as well coming into today. He'll be looking to try and keep on with that good form with a podium coming in the race in Mexico. Mercedes then line up on row number 3. It's Karam 7T. It's TK's pick here for the sprint win with Chappers alongside him in 5th place, completing the 3rd row of the grid. 2nd row of the grid is the Red Bulls. Tukey and Scotty Designs, by the way, will be looking to try and challenge their way in towards the first corner. And then we have the front row, the McLarens. It's Matt 212 and, it's Chesnoid Gaming. It's not Concept 7. He's not there twice. It's Chesnoid Gaming, who's on the sprint pole as we head our way through in towards the absolute hell that will be the Brazil sprint race. I'm thoroughly looking forward to this, Carl. Obviously, I've predicted a last to first challenge for Alex. Who knows if that's going to be true? But TK showing me up there, Karim 17. That's not a bad shout here for someone who could really take the sprint win.
Of course, it's not a bad shout at all, and he's got the machinery underneath him. He is the Mercedes maestro, or at least one of them, on the grid today. Just hasn't quite clicked for him this season. Of course, learning new racing line, he's trying to break new ground in terms of that particular aspect, but it's something you've got to really commit to. It's something that you can't just come in once a week and say, hey, I've given it a go, I feel like I have the consistency underneath me. You've got to properly dedicate yourself to it. And I think that's where, in turn, the consistency has been lacking. So we'll see. We will see how he does. We know, though, we saw it in Singapore. If he can get that car right at the front of the field, usually he's utterly bulletproof.
Yeah, and also it's a very short run down towards turn 1, isn't it? It's downhill on entry as well. You've got to try and leave your braking as late as possible in towards the Senna S, which then puts you through in towards turn 3 and the Curva do Sol, and then on towards the Retroposta. Down towards turn 4. It's a very, very sort of high-speed section there. Plenty of side-by-side action could be had there. Potentially, Carl, for a bit of drama there too.
We love a bit of drama. As we will give the advice out now, no heroics, lads. Please don't do it. I expect chaos though. I mean, it's a sprint race. The mentality is you've got to get up there as quickly as possible, whether that's down to game mechanics or the machinery that you're in, or whether you think you deserve to be higher up the field. There will be impatience. There will be overzealousness in terms of the overtaking. But that's where you've got to sort of restrain yourself. If you do restrain yourself, usually you see that come back and return on investment really well in your favour. So it's going to be an interesting psychological piece of warfare going on, I feel.
I like it. Psychological warfare. We haven't even started the sprint race yet. I am absolutely loving it. Make sure you've grabbed the popcorn then. The sprint race is not very far away, and hoping for a less chaotic end. If you haven't seen the sprint race earlier on today, I shan't spoil anything, but a bit of a dramatic end to that race, that is for sure. What we do know, though, is, of course, both those McLarens sharing the front row as we make our way on towards the formation lap. Chesnoy Gaming and Matt212, both sides of the garage here. Yeah, they've got the McLaren underneath them. They have a chance here to really get themselves going here. Matt212, whether or not it's a deserved reputation or not, there are bottles that get thrown whenever he's in behind the car. And that's saying a lot, considering, I can bottle it so easily. But it's a chance for Matt to get a sprint win.
Absolutely, and his second sprint win, no less, of course. He got the F2 win in Monaco, so he's well acquainted to a sprint win, is Mr. Matt212, and he's got the machinery underneath him, like you say. But easier said than done, of course. When you have a car that has that much downforce, there's the other caveat of it. When you have more downforce, you get more dirty air. There's more disturbance in the wake of the car ahead. And that's ultimately why people haven't been able to extract the potential, as there's a massive piece of contact. That is Tiamat Marduk absolutely scything through one of the Williams cars.
Shock horror.
And getting away with it. Shock horror indeed. Few have been already reset. They're going to have, Eskimos would be proud of those tyres as we're going for the far angle of Tiamat Marduk today. Very interesting.
Carl, he didn't even get reset. What's that about? They just slept on that one, the stewards. Never mind. There was one I wanted to point out as well. There we go, finally. There we go. Tukey starting 4th place in the sprint course. His last, really good result was out in Singapore when, again, I was here last time. There's a funny trend happening here. He got 2nd place in that one. He starts 4th in the sprint today. How he would love to get himself up onto that sprint podium and potentially challenging for a win here. But the melee of drivers in the Creator Series make their way to their grid slots there. You see Matt212 has the McLaren Chrome livery, and Chesnoy Gaming, I believe, does not. So I didn't think it was in the rule book that you could run 2 liveries exactly the, complete different. And I thought BAR went through that in the late 90s. Nevertheless, we get ourselves ready here for the sprint race in Brazil. A very short run, 12 laps waiting for us. It's 5 red lights. And we sprint down towards turn 1, and one of the starts like an instantly Chesnoy tries to shut the door, but look at Scotty Designs, by the way, looking for move round the outside in towards the first corner. Matt212 leads then as they head their way through the centre S, and now the Curva del Sol, and look at Karim 17 making his way through and towards turn 3. Yellow flags already behind these drivers, and the melee makes its way now down towards the 4th corner. Matt212 leads the way then. How about that Williams have been emphatic trying to make up some moves as well, as we head our way now onwards then through in towards turn 5, now on towards this infield section, side by side behind it's Concept 7, and Chappers going side by side as they head their way through that long right-hander, and Chappers gets the move done, challenging for the lead as well up at the top. Matt212 is under that bit of pressure. There's Tukey, who started 4th in this sprint race. He's dropped down to 8th place and battling away with Infratic as they now make their way up the hill. Tukey will have the inside line here as we head away in towards turn 10, and back on the power. Does he have that move? He's still going side by side with Infratic, and Infratic holds on to that position. In fact, now Safso thinks about a move up the inside in towards Shun Sao, but no way through there. And Matt212 leads the way then. Kareem 70, 2nd place. Hey, not bad for a TK spot there. He might even go for the lead here as we head away on towards the first corner. Matt212 has to defend the inside line, and Karim has to go the long way around.
Yeah, scorching start from Kareem 17. Matt212 saying if Kareem and Scotty want to battle, that would be great. Unfortunately, Kareem 17 has ripped the script. He'll have DRS as they head their way through to the Cida del Lago. And Kareem 17, from 6th on the grid, already leads this sprint race. What a sensational start from the Mercedes driver. I'll tell you what, I said it. If he goes and flies to the front of the field, he's usually bulletproof. He's already done it, and it's only been a lap and a bit. Excellent startings.
It really has been, yeah. He's fought his way through that order. As you say, 6th place on that sprint grid. Chesnoid is battling away now with Safso as we head our way through now. He's down to 9th place, though, as we head our way through in towards that turn 10 here. Chesnoid having to try and take the inside line. He's 9th place at the moment, and Ricky right behind him. And there's Tim McMurdoch trying to get up the inside. He has done. Now heading our way down in towards Jun Sao, and Tim McMurdoch is now up into 10th place there. As we head away back onto the start, well, I say the start finish straight. It's those triple left-hander before you get your way towards that start finish line. Kareem then leads the way, then sets the fastest lap in doing so. 1 minute 10.1 from him, and riding on board with Ricky. Then he's watching on. Tim McMurdoch down the inside, launching it down the inside, but he's run a little bit too deep. He'll get the inside line for the second part of the center S. He does manage to hold on to that position, and Tim McMurdoch now up into 9th place. Does Chesnoid have it in him to try and keep up and stay with him? But no, not this time. Tim McMurdoch holds on to that 9th place. Look at that as well. Meraki up the inside of Ricky. Heading our way now through in towards the Destino del Lago as he makes his way through. Meraki, championship leader. Important move for him to get himself up into 11th. And there's Formula Kai, who gets himself up into 12th.
Yeah, heart lodged in the esophagus for a brief moment for Tiamat Marduk, but keeps it well out of trouble. That was the yellow flag, by the way, a massive melee at the back of the field. Alex Gillen down in 17th, a huge gap to the rest of the pack up ahead. Dark Viper, by the way, great to see our reserves today. Dark Viper, Alex can't drive. I'm not going to comment on anything at the moment, but it don't look good, Brett. And then we've got, in 14th, M Sky Z is back in the fray as well, in the Alpine. Great to see those three just kicking about the Creator Series scene. Kareem 70, in other news though, has broken outside of a second and is already setting about eating up every single marvellous mile of 109.8. He is absolutely flying out there at the moment. And what a boost to the confidence that would be if he could pick up this sprint race win. He's already a third of the way there.
Well, graphics doing their best as usual, of course. But Scotty Designs, by the way, is up into 2nd place. He's got away past Map 212. We ride on board with Chappers then as we make our way up towards turn 6 then and up towards Laranjinha as we head our way through those long right-handers. Over the crest you go and then in towards turn 8 there. Maybe a slight lock up there from Chappers, but Concept should keep him on his paces. Scotty Designs now up into 2nd, but Kareem has managed to not only break DRS, but absolutely smash through it. 2 seconds away now from Scotty Designs as we make our way now down through in towards the final couple of corners through turn 11 and now in towards Jun Sao of turn 12. Back on the power we go. Matt 212 should still have DRS as we make our way onwards then back towards the start finish line and back towards turn 1. Kareem doing what he needs to do at this moment in time. Meraki just staying in contact with Tiamat Marduk then, but we ride on board with Chappers, who's looking for a move round the outside of Matt 212 in towards the center S. No way through that time around. Matt defends that well, but he might have a little bit of an attack here to defend from as we head our way down the back straight, down the Reta Aposta and down towards turn 4 once again. But Matt 212 with the DRS should help him to defend that position, at least for now.
Doing decently at the moment. Scotty just catching up a few attempts to Kareem 70 through the first sector. But that's just a case of burning battery, of course. We do not know, but he's protected 2nd place for the time being. Chapper's looking punchy. Could be a Mercedes double sprint podium, which would be quite interesting. I'm keeping an eye on Infratic, though. Did, if memory serves me correctly, cooked in the Williams at Reverse Sandvort. Got a podium there when he was driving for the outfit based in Grove, and he's looking to bring more glory to Grove as behind a slight mistake from Tukey. That could set Safso up in a big way to try and make a move. Not for now, though. Has to sit behind in the slipstream, and many drivers are using patience as a virtue, which is good to see. Points mean prizes, and if you are just taking yourself out needlessly, then how the hell are you ever going to be able to improve your proceedings? As Safso in the DRS, not choosing to burn the battery. Tukey turning defense into attack. It's Formula Kai, though, who is actually on the attack in the Alpine car. The Haas is looking pretty anonymous at the moment as Formula Kai moves into the top 10.
Yeah, in terms of championship as well, it's not good for Alex Gillen at the moment. We ride on board, though, with Safso. Of course, this is the sprint race, and we're almost halfway through. It's absolutely flying by at the moment. Kareem doing well. Now just about a 2.25 seconds away from Scotty Designs, by the way. Then it's Matt 212 in 3rd place, Chappers in 4th. But look at Safso here. Now gets a run. Trying to go up the inside, going through in towards turn 6 and 7. And now surely we'll try and move in towards turn 8. And that is the door left wide open from Tukey. And Safso makes his way then through in towards turn 7. And look potentially like Tukey just got the exit of the Destino del Lago all wrong. And that allowed Safso to just close up with some pace and get the move down the inside.
Yeah, a splendid Safso spectacle. Used his experience as well. Just showed the nose to the inside to see if piling on the pressure would throw the Red Bull off kilter, and it certainly did. It means now it's the Milton Keynes Massive versus the team from Faenza on board with the Australian sensation. Tiamat Marduk will have the DRS available at his disposal. Nowhere near closing in on Tukey at the moment, but of course burning the battery was a bit of a double-edged sword for the Red Bull driver previously. And look at that, even more so. Spins out of the Senna S's and into the Curva del Sol. Sun is beaming brightly on Tiamat Marduk's race. The dark clouds descend on Tukey's race though. He plummets down the pecking order.
The Curva del Sol has seen sunset for Tukey, hasn't it? He falls his way down the order, and that's going to promote a couple of drivers up a couple of positions. Formula Kai up into 9th, Meraki now up into the top 10, as we see Matt 212 then just apply the pressure to Scotty Designs, by the way. And Matt potentially here just harvesting some battery, waiting for the right time to strike, which on those medium tyres, a little bit of dirty air. Might have to manage it just a little bit, but at the moment then, making our way through in towards the final braking zone. Makes his way through and up the hill we go then to start another lap. As he makes his way through then, Scotty Designs, by the way, obviously looking in his rear view mirrors as we make our way onwards then towards that start finish line as we start lap number 8 here in the sprint. 212 is closing and closing. Does he look for a move? He thinks about it and decides against it, with also a half defensive move on Chappers to make sure he doesn't go through. Chappers, though, loses that back end through the second part of the Senna S and loses a bit of momentum there that he could have really used to try and put the pressure on Matt here as we make our way down in towards the Cida del Lago. And watch out for that Racing Bulls as well. Tiamat Marduk looking for a move on Safso. We see on the telemetry those positions are swapping left, right and centre as Safso is down a position. Tiamat Marduk up into 7th place.
Yeah, absolutely smashing out of the park as well in the V-Carb. Clearly got plenty of brilliant balance underneath him. We ride on board with Tiamat Marduk once again. The main man on the move at the moment. I will also highlight one Rasin Chai pit. So I don't know if something happened to the Kick Sauber driver, but another championship contender, as Infratic shows the nose to the inside. A committed send from the Williams driver, has to hold it round the outside. The Ferrari and the Williams remain side by side. Fabio seeing his machinery fight against him. That's not part of the script, but cleverly, he's got Concept 7 out of DRS. Not only will that help him, but it will help Tiamat Marduk behind as well, potentially. To the inside goes Fabio, who's the bravest on the brakes. Fabio and Tiamat Marduk make their way through. Isn't enough space left? Just about. Millimetric margins to play with, and they played them to perfection.
Concept forgot the concept of defending there. He left the door wide open for the Australian to make a move down the inside. We know Ben loves a move down the inside. A late diving, braking move, and he gets the move done. Then Safso then having to battle away with Concept as they make their way up the hill then. And side by side, the prancing horses go. Safso does get the move up the inside of Concept and moves himself up into 7th place. Look at the Alpine of Formula Kai, who makes contact with Concept then, going through in towards turn 8. And look at this now, the Haas of Meraki jumps on that full opportunity here to try and make a move as he makes his way and tries to hang it right round the outside. He'll have to get the power down. They lock wheels there. Brave stuff, but Meraki's still on the inside as we head our way. There's still banging wheels through and towards Jun Sao. We get the power down. Meraki is just about ahead. Has he still got DRS? I think he should just about get away and get DRS from Concept ahead of him. But wheel-to-wheel action here. Formula Kai's not done here. He'll look for part 2 up towards the first corner once again. The Alpine looking for a move down the inside. Later on the brakes, snatches the apex away, and Formula Kai is back into 9th.
Brutal battle. No love lost between the two of them as Formula Kai manages to get back into P9. I was saying the Hasses were anonymous. Meraki's done well to actually catch on to the back of this train. However, the big news, I was going to say the general trend. Last lap, Kareem 17 was 1.3 seconds quicker than Scotty. He is absolutely relishing this Interlagos circuit. A brilliant drive as the cream of the crop rises to the top as he does so many times, looking for his first race win with no racing line. He's absolutely going interstellar with his pace.
He really, really is, and it's it's great to see. Scotty Designs, by the way, makes his way through in towards Jun Sao for the 10th time of asking. A little bit squirrely under power, but Matt 212 still keeping him honest then, as Kareem then will make his way across the line to start the penultimate lap of this sprint race. 6 seconds clear of Scotty Designs, by the way, as Matt 212 tries to apply some pressure here. Again, I think Matt's just playing the waiting game here. They all know that the win is galloping away down the road with the Mercedes of Kareem, and now it's Matt just trying to make sure he bides his time and makes the right move at the right time to find a way past Scotty Designs as we head away down in towards Jun Sao. And that will also open up opportunities for the likes of Chappers from Fratic, for Tiamat Marduk, who's in 6th place at the moment. Remember, he started this sprint in 16th. He's made up 10 positions, so it's been a great drive from the Aussie. And of course, this is going to be huge in terms of getting sprint points for the championship. We ride on board then with Scotty Designs as there's Matt 212 just showing a little bit of front wing in towards turn 8 down the inside, but no way through just there as we head away up the hill now up towards turn 10. It's all about making sure everything is in place for that final lap.
Absolutely, and it's annoying, I can't see Scotty's point of view. He's not streaming, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's just saving battery throughout the lap, like you say, playing this extremely tactically, knowing the top-end speed that the Red Bull has, and then just dumping every single ounce of electrical energy that's underneath him as they make their way, number 1, through this part, although Matt 212 burning lots and lots, showing the nose to the inside. He's going for it. Down the inside goes Matt 212. Then he's just been biding his time, pinches Scotty to the inside, and that will be P2 for now, but Scotty has a chance to retaliate here. Into the Ciudad del Lago, down the straight they go, to the outside, pulls the Red Bull driver, plenty of space being left. Oh, Scotty has to go off the track, and will that open the invitation? Yes, it will. Through goes Matt 212. They're not done yet though, Kieran. Fabio tries to go round the outside, but he falls off the circuit in doing so.
He's going to lose a lot of time, and he'll actually might fall behind Meraki here as Tiamat Marduk is trying to barge his way through here. Now up into 4th place, wheel banging with himself and Chappers there. And there goes Safso down the inside as well. We've got Kareem, who will be making his way now through in towards the last couple of corners. It's all full throttle here for Kareem as he'll make his way through then in towards the final couple of corners. He's going to add a sprint win to the tally for this season. Kareem gets his first win in Creator Series. It's a sprint win for him in Brazil. Matt 212 is going to finish in 2nd place, and Scotty Designs, by the way, gets P3 in the sprint, with Tiamat Marduk in 4th place, then Chappers in 5th, Safso in 6th, Concept finishes in 7th place, Formula Kai in 8th, Infratic in 9th, Meraki in 10th place, then Ricky in 11th, Lolly Nova in 12th, Chesnoid Gaming in 13th, Tuki in 14th, Skyzy in 15th, Daco Vince 16th place, but that's where we see the drivers that were potentially caught up in the melee on lap number 1. Daco Vince 16th, Razin in 17th, Alex Gillen in 18th, Alex Can't Drive in 19th, and Dark Viper currently in 20th place. But what a fantastic end to that one. Oh, I tell you what, Tiamat Marduk was just, I'm sure, rocking backwards and forwards in that rig of his, just trying to make sure he gets everything out of it. As, well, the radio coming through from Meraki starting to blame his equipment. Well, he might not be the championship leader as it stands, but hey-ho, he's managed to get some critical points on the board anyway. But Kareem gets himself a sprint victory, and my, Carl, that was a long time coming.
Oh, it certainly was. But in a way, I'm so happy for him, genuinely. I think you could tell just how frustrating it was that the acclimatization, the learnings just hadn't quite been there. That can all change today, though, because Kareem 7T returns to the top step, 7.5 seconds clear of Matt 212, another sprint podium for the McLaren, Scotty P3, Tiamat Marduk so close to a sprint podium in 4th, Chappers in 5th, Ferrari 6th and 7th, with Safso leading the Maranello Massive, Formula Kai in 8th, Infratic 9th, Meraki rounds out the top 10, with Ricky, Lolinoba, Chesnoid, Tuki, M Skyzy, that guy Vince, a bit of Sauber Civil War apparently. I'll be interested to see what TK has farmed up from that. Alex Can't Drive in P19, with Dark Viper rounding out our sprint order. What a sprint race.
Indeed it was, fellas. That was very, very enjoyable to watch. Kareem finally found the formula again, back on the top step, although it is only the sprint, of course. TK, though, I think we do have something to analyse, because right at the very start of that race, I think there were a few bumps and scrapes into the Senna S's.
Well, I think there was slightly more than just a few bumps and scrapes. I'm treating you all here this afternoon. I've got not one, but 2 point of views for your viewing pleasure here this afternoon. We'll start with the one, the only Mr. Alex Gillen, as he dives down through the centre S's. Just keep an eye on the cars. They maybe try and go 3 wide, if not 4 wide, through the centre S's. Hopefully that's a little bit better for you all. I'm not quite sure. We'll try that a little bit more for you, everybody at home. As you can see, Gillen just maybe had a bit of an instant, but we can take it one step further, go have a look at Vince's point of view as well, because he gets a slightly better interpretation of how this all plays out here. Keep an eye on him, Sky Z in the Alpine just in front of him, as he sends a bit of an audacious dive in towards the second corner. And they are going to go 3 wide, not quite sure how it goes. Alex can't drive, unfortunately, showing that he cannot drive. And then M Sky Z performing words that I cannot say on this broadcast, and causing the fallout that we saw slightly later on. We'll go back to some more happy news just before we get ready to go again. We'll have a quick look at Karim's point of view. This was his overtake on map 2-1-2 as he dove in towards the first corner. Matt did a good attempt to try and get his overtake done, or well, defend from the overtake, should I say. He tries to prevent the switch back in towards that first corner. And then we'll try and drive around again. Goes to the undercut, the switch in the up and under. And it is going to work quite nicely for Karim as he gets the DRS and down the retro poster. He will go. 2 more to go for you just before we head back for the start of qualifying. This was an instant where Jake was playing, well, probably on board victim between himself, Tiamat Modic and Formula Kai that is just in front of him. What should keep an eye on Tiamat Modic, and a brave send, should we say, up in towards turn number 6 as he sends it down the inside of Formula Kai, who tries to return to the racing line, not quite seeing that the Haas was there, and unfortunately the Alpine does end up sideways in towards the next corner. Final one for you, though. This is Tuki's point of view, his crash as they headed through the center S's. Let's see what happens to the Red Bull racing car. Car just gets unsteady, and unfortunately, off into the distance he goes. Bye-bye goes to the Red Bull, and that's all we have for you.
Well. An interesting one there. That lap 1 crash. I didn't even see where Skyzy came from. Just came out of the blue and took a few cars with him. He definitely would have been hoping that Tiamat Modic could have been taken with him, because obviously the history that those two have back in Season 6 for him, that epic title decider in France on F1 23. But yeah, an interesting one. If we think about the championship, while the order stays the same, of the 6 drivers that we were talking about at the very start of this broadcast, only one of them scored points, and that was, of course, Tiamat Modic coming home in P4, TK.
It absolutely was, and it was a good P4 for himself. I was watching on board actually with Jake at the end, and he was rather flabbergasted that somehow Ben managed to find his way up to just 1 place outside of the podium position. So who knows what exactly is going on there. But a good point all around. And as you said, Karim, I don't want to big him up too much, but obviously was my prediction to win the sprint race.
100% TK. Absolutely brilliant, as always. Let's just bring the commentators back in, because they have had a lie down after what we were going through there. Kieran, I'm going to start with you. Incredible stuff, wasn't it? Some really good battles on that last lap as well. Got pretty spicy, didn't it? With the likes of Fabio, the likes of Meraki getting stuck into one another.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as well, it was just a case of Matt 2-on-2 just biding his time and making sure he got the move done and dusted on Scotty Designs, by the way. And that sort of opened up this sort of plethora of moves behind him. Tiamat Modic went from 6th to 4th in that last lap, because he just saw those gaps opening up there. Lightning McQueened his way through all of that carnage at the end there, managed to pick up 4th place and almost got himself that sprint podium, up all but for a 1/10.5 of a second at the line. But yeah, I have to say, Safso as well, making that move on concept as well. That was a move that needed to be done side by side through in towards turn 6 and 7 in the closing stages of that sprint race. I mean, let's make it clear, this is a driver-only championship, so the fact they're in the same car means absolutely nothing. It was just a great bit of display from Safso, showed his experience there in the Creator Series and managed to pick up a position right at the end there.
100%. And well, we've mentioned him a couple of times. I think we need to speak to Kareem70 for the first time in quite a while, jumping into the commentary box. Kareem, many congratulations. It's only a sprint win, but I'm sure the confidence levels have increased quite a lot after that one.
Yeah, thanks. The car felt great. The setup felt great. There was not much to complain about. Of course, starting P6 as well. You know, I can't gas myself up too much with that performance. But yeah, it felt great. Just nice and chill from start to finish. I got a good launch. And yeah, if I can carry this through to the race and maybe qualifying, then yeah, I'm feeling good.
We obviously haven't had too many opportunities to speak to you on the broadcast so far this season, so I think it would be nice for everyone to hear how difficult has the acclimatization been, taking the racing line off, trying to almost, feels like relearning the game again?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much spot on, to be honest. A lot of people think if you're quick with the line, you'll be quick or completely fine without the line. Yes, the pace has not been that different. I think a lot of qualifying sessions this season, there's been other things preventing me from doing laps or just me crashing and not being able to showcase the pace. But yeah, you really have to almost relearn driving. Like you said, it's a completely different philosophy of driving, if I had to put it a certain way. Like with the line, you're always looking down at the track in front of you, gauging, okay, I can trail brake until it turns this color, and it's all in your peripheral vision. So it's pretty easy. And then when you turn the line off, you have to look here, look there, your turning points, everything has to come together. And for that to happen, it takes a lot of practice. So it's taken a while. I'm starting to find my feet, I think. But yeah, it's a lot harder than people think.
I think a lot of people will probably empathise with that. And when you look at some of the flashes that we've seen so far this season, there was the pole position a few weeks ago in Singapore, looking really strong last week in Qatar until falling on the wrong side of misfortune. When you know you have the pace and you just can't quite unlock it because of various external factors, how easy or difficult is it just to pick your head up again and go 7 days' time, or go in 7 days' time again?
Not very easy. Not very easy. That's probably the most frustrating thing, knowing and seeing that you have flashes of pace, but there's just zero consistency, zero confidence, and it's just because with the line, of course we know I'm quick, or someone might know that they're quick, so it's there, you can do it, but you can almost feel yourself being slow, like, oh, this turn in was bad, instantly and the trail braking, sometimes you're holding the brakes because you don't know if you're going to make the corner or not, even if you've braked at, let's say, the 100 meter board, which people might say, oh yeah, that's the braking point for that corner. It's little things like that, like holding the brakes, locking up on purpose. You can feel yourself being slow and bad on purpose, but you can't help it. So it's very frustrating, but you just kind of have to push through it and keep going, I guess.
Well, I think I speak for everybody, whether it's commentators or people watching. Welcome back, and nice to see you back at the sharp end, Kareem, after the trials and tribulations of the last few weeks. Got a wildcard coming up in a few moments' time. We will let you get prepared for that because it is quite the spice one. But Kareem70, everybody, we thank you, of course, for jumping into the commentary box. Now, we mentioned it at the very start, wildcard on the agenda, and wild is definitely the term. But I think the best way to summarise it is if I hand over to our very own Hayden Gullis to take you around his interpretations of a lap of Interlagos.
Thank you, everybody. Yes, of course, it is me, Hayden Gullis. I am back. And today, I am going to be setting the time that our drivers are going to have to try and match if they want to secure pole position. And of course, as a man who has stood on pole position twice in Creator Series history, there was no one better to set the benchmark. So without any further ado, let's get a lap time around Brazil. Let's set our benchmark lap time around Brazil and see what we can do, braking at the 50-meter board down to third gear as we go through the center S, then into 4 through turn 2 and get the ERS burning through turn 3, keeping it nice and tight, and then DRS wide open as we prepare ourselves for turn 4. I'm assuming there's a lot of you thinking you're really smart right now. What if I get the stopwatch out? What if I record Hayden's lap time? Well, it's a pretty good lap so far, if I do say so myself. Nice and clean, but actually, do you know what? I feel like there's possibly a quicker line through this corner. So it's probably a little bit annoying for you guys who have got the stopwatch out, but I don't really care. Through the right-hander anyway, let's take the shortcut and let's fly through Interlagos. Look at that. Yeah, that's a much better line through there. Keep it tidy and then back over the grass, a little bit of lawn mowing, and that seems like it's really good and tidy and maybe fast or maybe not. We'll find out at the end of the session. Through the right-hander, and that's pretty decent. Let's burn the ERS as we go downhill now in towards the final corner. A very important corner because, of course, it sets you up all the way down towards the line. If you get it wrong, you're going to struggle as you go towards turn 1. DRS will be open momentarily. Has it been a fast lap? Has it been a slow lap? We're going to find out later on. Let's just one more time for the fans. Across the line backwards. And that is the lap time that we have set around Brazil. But was it a fast one? What is the lap time? You guys are going to have to wait and see till after qualifying to find out.
Well, well, well. We've had a lap time. We don't know, though, what the lap time is. And that is the mystery. Will it be faster? Will it be slower than intermediate lap times? Will it be that Hayden Gullis has actually just mimicked that lap time and he's got an esports driver to take it for him? All of the question marks. We don't know what's going to be going on. TK, I think I'm right in saying this should shake up the grid quite significantly.
I'll tell you what, it wouldn't be the first time that Hayden's got an esports driver in to replicate some effort in the Creator Series. You can remember back to Japan a couple of seasons ago where a certain Mr. Lee stepped in to race in his place. So who knows quite what he's managed to conjure up here this afternoon. But I tell you what, even we don't know what that time is going to be quite yet. So I think we're in the same boat as the drivers.
100%. That's going to make it all the more exciting. That's where it is crucial that you do watch that video, because there will be some drivers, I'm sure, that will just casually swan into qualifying. I'm just going to set a lap time. I'm going to guess what Hayden's pace is like and not actually pay attention to what he's actually done in that video. So very, very critical that you do watch out for how Hayden Gullis was driving. And maybe there are a few curveballs thrown in there as well. This is the million-dollar question, TK, and I'm very sorry, but I have to ask it to somebody. And unfortunately, you're the person on screen with me. Who do you think is going to be the best at driving like Hayden Gullis?
So who is going to be the person that is, in theory, the worst in qualifying and most likely to do a lap in reverse?
Yes.
That's a really tough question. I don't want to insult any driver. I think that's where we've kind of got to find ourselves at the moment. Is like, who is going to be this driver that could mess around or could hit lap time? I mean, if there's one person I think could hit it, I think it's going to be Safso. I've got something that's kind of like telling me deep down, like he's always been one of those drivers in qualifying that if he has a good run, he is sometimes fantastic. It's not always going to be the quickest time of the night, but actually, if you're talking about a time that he has to consistently hit, it could be interesting. I do wonder, though, how much time Alex Gillen's going to spend analysing that lap and trying to get down to the millisecond what time he needs to hit.
He has got 18 minutes, maybe a little bit less. Call it 16 minutes to try and work out pinpoint accuracy on what he needs to do. Let's have a little bit of a strategy chat, though, because, of course, we're going to have to reset the lobby between qualifying and the race. First time we're going to do that for quite a while. That means the drivers will get their soft compound tyres back. Yes, they're not necessarily going to be pushing them to the absolute limit, but that gives them incredibly increased flexibility when it comes to a strategic race.
It's interesting, actually. I was talking to a few of the drivers earlier, and they were talking about taking the harder compounds or the harder allocation when we get in towards that race situation, because they know that the mediums are a tried and tested tyre here in Brazil. They don't mind how the hard tyres operate, but the soft tyres disintegrate. And we saw that actually IRL today in the sprint race without giving away too many spoilers. But they just aren't a tyre for race conditions.
100%. Going to make things very, very interesting. Updated standings for you as well post the sprint race. We said only one of our 6 championship contenders finished inside the top 8, and it means that the order right at the sharp end doesn't change too much. But for Tiamat Marduk, our former 2-time champion, one of 2 multiple champions, the gap decreases to just the 8 points, and now 11 between himself and Razin Chai. Just inching a little bit closer, Ben. Obviously, it's been 213 days, I think, maybe 211 days since Tiamat Marduk last won in the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. But he's right in the thick of this title fight.
He absolutely is, and it's so close between that top 3. 8 points in it between Meraki and Ben, and then only a little bit further down the order, another 11 points down to Razin, 12 down to Vince and Lonnie Nova. So it is still all to play for here this afternoon. And of course, we've got some interesting races coming up. We've got the likes of Vegas, we've got Abu Dhabi, 2 races that have been absolute thrillers in season gone by.
I think we do need to give a word to the best of the rest scrap, I think it's fair to say. You've got Riccio 3-7, currently on 48 points. With the points picked up in the sprint race, Cream 17 16th is only 14 points shy. That is a massive cluster of cars that I think could be fighting for some fairly strong honours.
They certainly could, and it's a lot of drivers that traditionally, I don't want to, put Karim's name through the dirt a little bit, that traditionally, though, wouldn't be fighting for the higher up places in that championship. You'd see them closer down towards the bottom, the 17th through 20th. You've got the likes of Sanderson, Scotty Designs, Matt 212, 12th through 13th and 14th at the moment. Drivers that are doing relatively really well, and they're only maybe 10 points off getting up to 7th place where Ricky stands with 48 points. It is so close in that championship.
100%. So much to play for. I just want to have a little word on Alex Gillen as well, because that sprint, as we saw from your perspective, did not go Gillen's way. We know that he's very headstrong and he will pick himself up after that, but does he need to change his approach potentially? Because I was watching his stream. He said that he was trying to be ultra cautious there on lap 1, and he still ended up tripping over 5 cars going through the centre S's. So maybe is Gillen thinking too much about the championship from starting further back?
You know what? I don't think so. I think a lot of his mental battle is that he's in a Sauber. He knows he's in a Sauber, and he wants to try and... I don't like using the word overdriving the car, because I don't think it's quite the right way to look at it. But he is trying to overdrive the car, get some performance out of it that quite possibly doesn't exist from that highlighter.
Yeah, definitely not the best machinery that Gillen has been loaded with. That's what you get when you are the reigning champion and you have picked up the second most points so far this season. For people that weren't here earlier, as we wait for the lobby to load to send us into qualifying, let's have another little look at a lap of the Interlagos circuit. The lap that drivers will have to try and match as closely as possible with our very own Hayden Gullis. I think you should take it away, Hayden.
Thank you, everybody. Yes, of course, it is me, Hayden Gullis. I am back. And today, I am going to be setting the time that our drivers are going to have to try and match if they want to secure pole position. And of course, as a man who has stood on pole position twice in Creator Series history, there was no one better to set the benchmark. So without any further ado, let's get a lap time around Brazil. Let's set our benchmark lap time around Brazil and see what we can do, braking at the 50-meter board down to 3rd gear as we go through the center S, then into 4 through turn 2 and get the ERS burning through turn 3, keeping it nice and tight, and then DRS wide open as we prepare ourselves for turn 4. I'm assuming there's a lot of you thinking you're really smart right now. What if I get the stopwatch out? What if I record Hayden's lap time? Well, it's a pretty good lap so far, if I do say so myself. Nice and clean, but actually, do you know what? I feel like there's possibly a quicker line through this corner. So it's probably a little bit annoying for you guys who have got the stopwatch out, but I don't really care. Through the right-hander anyway, let's take the shortcut and let's fly through Interlagos. Look at that. Yeah, that's a much better line through there. Keep it tidy and then back over the grass. A little bit of lawn mowing, and that seems like it's really good and tidy and maybe fast or maybe not. We'll find out at the end of the session. Through the right-hander, and that's pretty decent. Let's burn the ERS as we go downhill now in towards the final corner. A very important corner, because of course it sets you up all the way down towards the line. If you get it wrong, you're going to struggle as you go towards turn 1. DRS will be open momentarily. Has it been a fast lap? Has it been a slow lap? We're going to find out later on. Let's just one more time for the fans, across the line backwards. And that is the lap time that we have set around Brazil. But was it a fast one? What is the lap time? You guys are going to have to wait and see till after qualifying to find out.
Well, here we are then at the start of qualifying, and as you can see, the intermediate tyres are on for the Inter's pole. And an interesting fact I was looking at so far this season, anybody who's managed to grab the Inter's pole so far this season has gone on to go and get a podium in the race. Apart from one man, and he's right below me. How are you, Carl?
All right, I'm all right. You know, look, sometimes in the life it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, it's the history of the Creator Series, you know. But look, okay, interesting fact though. While we head into qualifying, as Safso's bravely, and so is Tim at Marduk and Tuki, bravely going for an intermediate pole attempt. That was very interesting. Equally though, the rain starts in 5 minutes, and it's literally just started raining. So do you dare to put it into the basket of the lap time? Yeah, literally, it is raining according to our screen. This is very interesting then. They have one chance to get this right, potentially. So, do you put all the eggs in the basket? Do you put on the afterburners? Or have people been smart? I've seen a couple of smart people in the Twitch chats, so this is going to be interesting.
Methinks the weather gods might have had some sort of play in that. However, who knows what the lap time could be? Remember, it's not necessarily the fastest lap that's going to get you pole position here. It's the closest time to the time that Hayden Gullis set in that lap you just saw there. So you could be top of the standings, but you might be starting 7th. You'd never know in this one. But that will be why that some are not going for that Inter's pole time. Some are. But then when we get to it, you know, we've got Safso, Tim at Marduk, Tuki, all on the intermediates. The rest are all on soft tyres. And as Alex Gillen says, might be genuinely difficult to get. So it may evolve into whoever's at the top gets the fastest. Who knows at this point?
Well, they've got to push to the absolute ragged edge of their machinery now. We see Safso being reeled in by a Williams car behind. I'm not sure if that's Infratic or Ricky 03. Whatever the case, they are absolutely flying behind on the softs. Of course, disrupted a little bit in the dirty air wake is the Williams car, but Safso keeping it cool and compliant. You can see how quickly the track is just beginning to develop a bit of a sheen, but we'll see these lap times flood in thick and fast. First lap is that guy, Vince. He does a 1 minute 12.3. Scotty slightly slower. We see Safso then cross the line. He goes even slower than that on the intermediate, so still slick tyres are the way to go. Lolinoba now goes fastest with a 1 minute 12.251. All very interesting so far, but is that going to be a little bit too much maybe, Kieran?
Oh, at this point, yeah, who knows? Was the rallycross line the right line? Well, we'll have to wait and see, but at this point in time, Lolinova has set the fastest lap of the session. It does mean that Safso at the moment has the fastest time on the intermediate pole time, quote unquote. But yeah, I think as well, Infratic, now will he be frustrated that he got stuck behind Safso there? I mean, he's already had his heart broken once today by a Ferrari in a qualifying session. He might have just had it again from Safso there. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. The rain is falling here as drivers make their way through. Only the 3 drivers on the intermediates, and the red flag has been thrown here. The session has been stopped. And it looks like we're going to go for a restart here, just to add to the drama, the whimsical drama. Gareth is telling me that it was probably meant to be dry, so we're going to roll the dice again. The weather gods can't influence this one.
Lobby host, reveal yourself. That is quite shameful. Race control, apparently, okay, right. That old chestnut. Just Stop Oil is on the track, which is a bit weird. It's got a bit of a slick sheen anyway, so I thought, no, anyway, regardless. Ferrari into the pits. Everybody peels into the pit lane. That is it.
Hello, everyone. Slightly earlier than maybe myself and TK were expecting to come back to. Yes, a slight blunder there. It was quite fun. I think we could all admit right at the start when we thought it was going to be raining inside 5 minutes. That just descended into chaos a little bit after that when the rain came down instantaneously as the drivers came out onto the circuit. So we are going again. We're going to have a second chance at this, and hopefully the weather will stay away. But we did get a little bit of an inkling there, didn't we, TK, into certain drivers' tactics. I have been seeing some lap times being thrown around in people's chats as well, which is very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think there's a few drivers out there that are almost, were contemplating whether the formidable lap time was even going to be possible should the wet weather conditions continue, and I think that's partially why that red flag had been called by race control. But I always didn't make it back to the broadcast booth. I had to put some orange paint away. I don't know where it came from. So,
I mean, did you take a quick flight to South America by any chance?
Through the magic of teleportation, I managed to get in about 30 seconds, which was very lovely. Just loaded up MS Paint and kind of scribbled a little bit.
Some kind of protest. I think it's quite irrelevant, to be honest, what happens. But moving away from that one, I mean, we need to go back through our chatters. So we were talking about drivers that might be the favourite to drive as Hayden Gullis. With it being dry, now they won't have to worry about the rain coming down and be desperate to get it done right at the start of the qualifying session, so they can just relax a little bit. I think we do need to discuss the going over the time limit, though, because there are going to be some drivers that go quicker than the lap time that Hayden suggests, don't know that, and then will go even faster, and then be even further back. It's such an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting mix, I think, for a few of our drivers as to how they stand on that podium, or stand on the plinth, so to say, of what time they think is going to be acceptable. Because if you get to a situation where you go, I think Hayden somehow managed to pull off a 107, you're going to be constantly trying to chase yourself down and down and down towards the end of the session. Whereas you maybe flip it on the other head and go, you know what? I think he's not capable of going quicker than a 1 minute 30, for example, even with that reset in there. Do you then try and kind of doubt yourself or battle your way through a little bit? How many mental mind games do you want to play with yourself before we even get to that reveal?
The flashback makes it really interesting as well, because you've got to stop the timing and then restart the timing again. Everything very much up in the air. For people that are joining us in the chat, the time will not be revealed now, but I do want to see what everybody is thinking the time is. So if you can drop your guesses, your predictions, your measurements for what lap time Hayden Gullis set, that'll be very interesting to see. We are going to be getting going again very, very shortly, of course. Still the 18-minute qualifying session. No rain on the forecast, which is absolutely lovely. So we will get the full session to try and see who can drive as close as they possibly can to Hayden Gullis. We've got a 19, I'm guessing that's a 109.5, 109.3. People fairly close together. Are you right? Are you wrong? Has Hayden Gullis hoodwinked you? Won't be the first time.
I also wouldn't put it past me if Hayden's done a completely recorded lap for him and then just made up a time to completely baffle a few drivers. I've known Hayden for a long while, and that is something that I wouldn't quite put past him.
I'm really impressed as well, for people that are dropping it, that you have actually gone to the 3 decimal places, taking this really seriously. And this is what we absolutely love to see. I'm sure Alex Skin's got his notebook out there trying to note it down as much as possible. Jess is in the low 1 minute 10s. We've still got the mid. A lot of people favouring that 109.5. I mean, maybe we know something that you don't. We'll have to wait and see. The other challenge, and we haven't actually mentioned this as well, for the drivers that do think they know what the time is, that's one thing, but trying to match that time is another.
Yeah, exactly. And especially even if we're, you could probably reliably put a 1:11 down on a circuit like Brazil. You just go slow through the final couple of corners, but getting it down to the milliseconds, because I guarantee that's what it's going to come down to today. It is something that is going to be incredibly hard to get right. And if you do, fair play.
Really close, isn't it? 110.2 we're seeing again, 111.6, 109 flat, 107.7. You really think Hayden Gullis is that fast? Or has he got an esports driver to come in? Everything's up in the air. Was he just simulating that lap time? Was he just pretending? We aren't far away, everybody, so keep your predictions coming in. Lolonoba is going to retire the car out of protest. Why are we restarting the session? Because it was raining, and it can be quite difficult. 109.3 coming in as well. Lolonoba was on pole. I would feel sympathetic for Lolonoba and the fans that are coming in if he wasn't 3 seconds off the time that you're all predicting.
I also mean, if you want to continue this, I've left my umbrella in the car. So if you want to give me a couple of minutes, I'll go get it before the tears start.
Oh yeah, go for it. I mean, it could be very interesting. You can't come in here and predict that it's in the 110s, 109s, and then end up miles away from that one, and can't do it.
Well, it's going to be an interesting one. Carl, the protesters heard slick tyres, got the wrong idea.
Love that from Carl. We are going again, though. For people that are confused, we are going to be going again. So the weather will be dry. Closest, you can see Jess has done a very good job there, getting the wild card up. Yes. Closest to the lap time set by Hayden Gullis will take the pole position. I think should we have another watch of it, just so you can reacquaint yourselves with the lap time again, because I think Hayden would absolutely love for you to watch his incredible driving once more.
No, apparently not.
Thank you, everybody. Yes, of course. It is me, Hayden Gullis. I am back. And today, I am going to be setting the time that our drivers are going to have to try and match if they want to secure pole position. And of course, as a man who has stood on pole position twice in Creator Series history, there was no one better to set the benchmark. So without any further ado, let's get a lap time around Brazil. Let's set our benchmark lap time around Brazil and see what we can do, braking at the 50-meter board down to 3rd gear as we go through the center S, then into 4 through turn 2 and get the ERS burning through turn 3, keeping it nice and tight, and then DRS wide open as we prepare ourselves for turn 4. I'm assuming there's a lot of you thinking you're really smart right now. What if I get the stopwatch out? What if I record Hayden's lap time? Well, it's a pretty good lap so far, if I do say so myself. Nice and clean, but actually, do you know what? I feel like there's possibly a quicker line through this corner. So it's probably a little bit annoying for you guys who have got the stopwatch out, but I don't really care. Through the right-hander anyway, let's take the shortcut and let's fly through Interlagos. Look at that. Yeah, that's a much better line through there. Keep it tidy and then back over the grass. A little bit of lawn mowing, and that seems like it's really good and tidy and maybe fast or maybe not. We'll find out at the end of the session. Through the right-hander, and that's pretty decent. Let's burn the ERS as we go downhill now in towards the final corner. A very important corner, because of course it sets you up all the way down towards the line. If you get it wrong, you're going to struggle as you go towards turn 1. DRS will be open momentarily. Has it been a fast lap? Has it been a slow lap? We're going to find out later on. Let's just one more time for the fans, across the line backwards. And that is the lap time that we have set around Brazil. But was it a fast one? What is the lap time? You guys are going to have to wait and see till after qualifying to find out.
So there is Hayden Gullis' hot lap. I didn't manage to keep a straight face. I'm so upset. There is Hayden Gullis' hot lap. We are restarting the session. There goes my hat. That's disappointing. So it is 18-minute qualifying once again. Lolanoba, I'm sorry, Lolanoba fans, but you are not going to be starting on pole. Unless you get it right this time. You've got a second chance, you know. First time was so nice. We'll do it a second time. Maybe you can do it again. We will have to wait and see. Yoshi is coming saying he timed it at a 12.1. I think that's the slowest that we've had so far. But to get us into our second attempt at the qualifying session, I think we should hand you over once again to our lovely commentary crew. It is, of course, Carl Poranic and Kieran McGinley.
Thank you very much. Yes, as you can see, we're loading in again. You're getting deja vu. Shall I reveal my fact again, Carl? I really like that fact. I'll do it again.
Do it.
Hey, did you know, and Carl won't believe he knows this, but
really?
every driver who's had Inter's pole so far this season here in the Creator Series has all gone on to get a podium in the race.
That's interesting.
Apart from one driver.
Oh,
And he's right below me. Hello, Carl. How are you?
hello. I'm just absolutely fantastic. Welcome to qualifying. It's part 2 of qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. And a lot of you think you predicted the lap time. A lot of you think you've been super intelligent and super smart. What if, and this is a Hayden Gullis thought here, what if during that flashback screen, actually all he needed to do was splice some different footage when he was driving in. So actually the time isn't as representative as you think. Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. If you think you've pulled a fast one on us, think again. We're in the pit lane. It's qualifying time. It's the second crack of the whip at trying to match Hayden Gullis's time. First session was interesting. Lolling over. Some sad Italian noises. It was incandescence in Italian earlier. But we'll see. We'll see how this transpires. How do they approach this? Same kind of attack? Or slightly different, maybe?
Well, we'll find out. I'll tell you what. Do you know what would be the greatest story in the world if Lolinoba gets the pole position here? Wouldn't that be a fantastic story? Go on, Lolinoba. You got it. I know you can do it now. Here we go. Safso is first out onto track then as he makes his way down towards the Ciudad de Largo. On those intermediate tyres, he's having another attempt at that Inter's pole time. And he'll make his way upwards towards the turn 6 and 7. Through we go. And what's he going to be on the cards here? I can have a look and say, yeah, there's no rain expected, so completely dry throughout this session. I didn't know that was absolutely madness. But remember, if you're just joining us, it's not a case of who is fastest in this session, as Safso gets the rear end out there through in towards the final couple of corners. It's not about who gets the fastest time, it's about who gets closest to the time that Hayden Gullis set earlier on. We'll have to wait and see how this all plays out. This will be an interesting qualifying session. A couple of drivers going on to the medium tyres to start with. I assume then to maybe get a banker lap and get some sort of a delta on the board so that they can try and guesstimate and try with some degree of accuracy, and maybe not so much accurate, of what lap time they need and what lap time they're going to set.
Of course. Well, of course, the tyres get reset after this as well, once we reveal what the lap time is, and therefore we can finalise the grid for you all, ladies and gentlemen. But Safso on his intermediates pole / maybe Hayden Gullis matching time attempt. It's an 18 point whatever it was through sector 1, getting a little bit squirrely on the exit here. The intermediates just cry out for resuscitation within an instant as he heads through the Ferradura to be the first one to head through it pretty much in this qualifying session. So tricky to get the car stopped, as well as Mark apparently on the radio saying, we think we're expecting some rain in 10 minutes. Oh no, the protesters are hearing the slick tyre phrase come out again.
Oh dear, I think Mark's got this one wrong. Either that or he's got some sort of very advanced radar. Just to be on the cards. No, there is no rain predicted. Mark's got that wrong. Anyway, Safso then makes his way through in towards the final braking zone, onwards and upwards then through in towards the final run towards the line. We'll see who makes his way onwards then, what sort of time this will be. Remember, this is for a chance at Inter's pole. It's a 1:11.923 from Safso, which gets our first lap time on the board. Ricky then, 1:10.3. He's gone straight in on the soft tyres. So he's pretty keen and eager to try and get as close as possible to this unknown time. Meraki then makes his way then through in towards the middle part of the lap. We'll see what he can do from this point onwards, as Kareem 1:11.6 on the intermediate, so currently has that bonus points for intermediate lap time then, as there's some huge lap times coming in. Chappers 1:08.745 from Chappers puts him now as the fastest lap of the session. Skyzy 1:09.1, and we'll see at the end of it all whether those lap times are where they'll place them, because it's, of course, how close they are to that target lap time. Now, what's going to happen is as well that if drivers have gone quicker than that target time, then they can't go backwards. They can't just set another lap time and that's that. It's the best lap time that's taken from the session. So, hey, if you go bust, you go bust, and that's that.
Absolutely. Tell you what, Hayden Gullis is going to be sitting at home as Captain Smug, with all these drivers with extreme confidence in his ability. So fair play to Hayden Gullis. Red Bull of Tukey crossing the line, still an intermediates pole up for grabs, of course, if they haven't indeed already gone bust. But at the moment, it's Kareem 17 that holds it. Formula Kai with an interstellar attempt as well. Not quite able to overthrow, though, the Mercedes man, who has just ramped up the confidence since that first sprint win. He's going now for another extra point as he peels into the pit lane. Only 2 more drivers are trying to take away, in fact, make that 3 potentially. Razin Chai, indeed, no, saving the battery, not going to, but his teammate Alex Gillen certainly is, as is Meraki. Only a minute left to do it. Here comes the first one then. The American dream to the line.
Meraki getting some slipstream there. Is that going to make his way on towards that Inters pole? It's not. 1 minute 12.1 from Meraki then, so it's not fast enough to get that Inters pole time. But here comes Alex Gillen on his way towards the line. What lap time can he set on those intermediate tyres? 1 minute 12.2, so he won't be getting that Inters pole lap time. 1:11.6 as it stands, and from the looks of it then, it looks like Kareem has got himself a nice bit of history coming on here. There's only one driver in the entire Creator Series this series that hasn't got a podium once they've got the Inters pole, and he's sitting right with me.
Hell yeah, that's me. You had to just mention it a third time, didn't you? I hate the power of 3, but Kareem 17.
3 times the charm.
That's third time's the charm, exactly. 15 seconds left, and we have absolutely no doubt whatsoever that Kareem 17 is going to pick up his 9th point of this Creator Series race weekend. By the way, more times flooding in on the soft tyres. Matt 212, a 1:10.771. Fabio with a 1 minute 9.613. Interesting to see the different approaches here in this qualifying session. Do they think they should be going even faster? Maybe that's their banker time. Maybe that's their current assessment of the qualifying session. All extremely interesting. Everybody else peeling into the pit lane. Plenty of slick tyre times to get onto the board. And well, how on earth do you approach this from here? Safso, DRS, maximum flappage, wide open. And how much does he dare to dream and improve by?
Sorry, they say prepare for everything in commentary whenever you get behind the mic. I was not prepared for maximum flappage. Accidental Partridge, we hear you, we respect you. Concept has gone straight on at turn 1 there as he makes his way then possibly just jumping out of the way. He's 4th fastest in this session at the moment with a 1 minute 10.1. There's Lolinoba, who makes his way now through the ZRS and onwards then through the Curva de Sol and onwards then towards the back straight, then onwards he will then run down towards the 4th corner, the Descida de Largo, as we'll see what he can do. He's gone trying to power his way through and of course see what he can do. We'll see how it all pans out. We've got Kareem, who's had that Inters pole time, so that's pretty much locked and loaded. He'll get those extra points and he'll be very happy with that one indeed. We'll see what he can do in the race. Of course, he's coming into this weekend, we say weekend, in really good form. He got the sprint win. He's now got an Inters pole. I mean, Carl, this could be a man on a mission today. As Safso puts in a 1 minute 7.5. Great lap time from Safso there to go top of the session. But again, I can't say it's for pole position because we just don't know.
Indeed we don't. Hayden Gullis still Vice Admiral smug, thinking that people have phenomenal pace. So fair play to him. Lolinoba, what eggs does he put into the basket? A 1 minute 9.860. Quite evidently, I think, taking a lot less speed onto the start-finish straight as he tries. And of course, all of his little engineers in the Twitch chats all around the paddock try to predict the lap times. We're about half of the way through this qualifying session. Of course, we have our man on the ground. He's jumping in between Twitch chats. And I just have to wonder, TK, if we could bring you in, what is the assessment all the way through the paddock at the moment?
I tell you what, it's an interesting one. There's a lot of I don't quite know what's going on here, feeling amongst the paddock, because they all are trying to chase this imaginary lap time that they can't even fathom, and they've got their chats kind of screaming in their ears as to what they all think the target lap time is going to be. And actually, I think that's causing a bit of a disdain amongst the driver individuals, because they don't know who to believe or what to actually try and accomplish here.
Yeah, it's more of a, help can hinder and hinder can help. But yeah, we've got TK down in the pit lane now, which is great. We've got our own Tom Knight. Ted Kravitz, Tom Knight. What's the difference? Scotty Designs, by the way, 1 minute 9.167. Gets the 4th fastest lap time in this session so far.
Very interesting. Razin gambled on the hard compound tyres. He set a 1 minute 9.340, which, to be honest, on hard tyres, is a pretty impressive lap time. However, again, we just don't know. As Scotty goes for a little swivel and a spin, some donuts, up towards the Sena del Lago. In fact, I have a weird feeling that he's going to disqualify. Yes, he is going to disqualify himself. So Scotty Designs throwing in the towel, perhaps suggesting that according to our man in the pit lane, TK, it was absolutely intentional. I thought for a moment he had just absolutely psychologically been battering rammed, because he might well have thought he'd gone completely bust.
Well, that's one for the content, isn't it? That's one for the meme recap. We see you, Scotty Designs, by the way. We see you. We see you. There's Dark Viper, who makes his way then through in towards the turn 6 and 7 complex. He's just jumping out of the way on a 1 minute 12.5 at this moment in time. And looking at the timing screens, we've got 8 minutes left of the session then. Safso has the fastest lap of the session, 1 minute 7.5. We've got Alex Can't Drive, 1 minute 14.6, all lap times that at this point could all be pole position. You just don't know at this point. So Dark Viper then makes his way through in towards the final braking zone, and he'll power his way up probably back towards the pit lane, or maybe this is just winding up a lap. He'll get a lovely bit of tow from the Red Bull in front of him, and it is going to be a setup, a wind up for a flying lap here, and just over 7 minutes on the clock left in this qualifying session as we guide our way through with Dark Viper through the Center S and then through the Curva de Sol through in towards that long turn 3. There's Meraki, whose 1 minute 9.599 is the 7th fastest lap time in this session. He brings it back into the pits with just under 7 minutes left.
Completely different dynamic of a qualifying session. I quite like it in a way. Try and set the lap time. You can't exactly push full beans to try and achieve, as Alex Gillen matches that guy Vince to the millisecond with a 1 minute 9.807. And dare I say, we could see a lot more of that, depending on the calculations that everybody has attempted to do. So it's only an indication, but that is an inkling of just how minute the margins are going to be with 6.5 minutes remaining.
Exactly that, and we'll see how Alex Gillen can get on. Obviously, he's wanting to put the sprint race behind him. He needs a good race later on today. Currently, the 10th fastest lap time in this session with a 1 minute 9.807. As we have Tukey, 1 minute 8.2 now goes second fastest in this session. And there goes Alex Gillen then across the line to start a new flying lap. He didn't really need that weave there on the start finish line, or maybe he did. We'll find out through the Curva do Sol and onwards then towards the Retroposta, down towards the 4th corner of the circuit, down towards the Cida del Lago. And Safso with that fastest lap time so far. Alex Gillen will be looking to see what he can do. Can he make it a race win 3 out of the last 4 weekends? He'd be on the top step if he can get a win this weekend. There's Tiamat Marduk, a fantastic sprint race, gets him within 8 points of championship leader Meraki. He'll be wanting to really capitalise on this really good run of form, especially from the sprint, gaining 12 positions in the sprint.
Yeah, more shuffling at the front of the field as Lolin Ober now goes into P3 with a 1 minute 8.6. All still very interesting. Tiamat Marduk, what's he going to do? The answer is a 1 minute 9.598. And again, you're seeing those margins emerge. 1,000th of a second between Tiamat Marduk and Meraki. I mean, Alex Gillen and that guy Vincent already matched each other previously, but that is just further indication and proof that this is going to be a spicy spectacle to the end.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Should we have this more often? This is great stuff because, you know, drivers are having to sort of listen to their engineers and their chats as well about what the lap time could be. Where do they, you know, what lap time do they nail down, essentially, is going to be the big play here, and who's going to get it right. It gives that intrigue, it gives that what do I believe element to the qualifying session. But you might actually, you know, you could try and figure out a benchmark lap time, as we see him frantic there, just going for a couple of pirouettes and spins, as I think he's pretty much happy with his qualifying session with just over 4 minutes to go. But, you know, that added element of what's going to be the time, but then you've got to actually put in the lap time to get close to it. So you've got the two elements there. What lap time do I need? And what do I need to do to actually get the lap time in the first place?
For sure, absolutely. A bunch of people have just thrown in the towel, by the way. Whether they think they've miscalculated it or whether they're happy with their effort, that is the big question. Matt212, where does he go? He goes a 10th faster. He goes to 1 minute 10.574. Incremental improvements. Kareem70 has also bowed out. This very interesting. Tiamat Marduk saying, ideally, I want to go 4 tenths quicker. Oh, the mind games, ladies and gentlemen. People still aren't satisfied out there. They believe in our Lord and Saviour, Mr. Hayden Gullis. This is a very, very interesting dynamic.
It is. But would he have put in, our Hayden Gullis, an extra 4 tenths of a second? Again, the mind games come into play. Well, we'll see. Just over 3 minutes left of this qualifying session to run. We have Sapso, who has set the fastest lap of the session. That doesn't necessarily mean it's pole position. Alex can't drive with a 1 minute 10.9. We've got Dark Viper, 1:11.5. They could also just as well be pole position. We'll find out at the end of the session what the target lap time was and who got closest to it here. Alex Gillen then makes his way through in towards that last braking zone then at Jun Sau, and he'll make his way now onwards and upwards through in towards the triple left-hander, essentially up towards the line. Alex Gillen will go with just about 2.5 minutes left on the clock. What's the lap time he does? It's a 1 minute 9.590, and that puts him slap bang in the middle of all the lap times here. And we'll wait and see, of course, what that all, how that will shuffle around the order, if it does.
Man, this is absolutely intriguing. I'm not even going to lie to you. Look at us studying every millisecond. Some brilliant, brilliant drifting action from Fabio in the Williams car. Clearly has no interest in improving his time. Fair enough, sire. You believe what you want to believe. Ricky03, though, is looking potentially to improve, as is this man. Alex can't drive. He's clearly keeping wheel to tarmac at the moment, though, as he heads through the Ferradura, through turn 6 and 7, into turn number 8. Generally prioritise an earlier apex, and he does, but that's when you're going maximum attack. Hold the inside line to minimise the distance. You're then braking as the tarmac ends on the left-hand side to pinch the nose in, but you can see how tentative the Aston Martin is, and that's what everybody's been trying to do here. Well, discounting the likes of Safso Tuki and probably Lolly, who have just decided, yep, Hayden's quick. That's the end of that conversation, but clearly just holding back a little bit as they look to try and pursue those extra crucial milliseconds.
How much does that speak of Hayden as well? Oh, I might just have to hold back a little bit here. Alex can't drive. 1 minute 10.5 is the 17th fastest lap time in this session. There's Ricky then, who's making his way onwards towards the start-finish line. What sort of lap time will he set? 1 minute 10.1 as Vince over the radio says, I'm ego retiring. Well, there you go. Alex Gillen, happy with his lap time. He retires the car. So too does Alex Can't Drive. Of course, there's not long left in this session. Just about 50 seconds left as Concept now makes his way through in towards Jun Sau, the 10th corner of the circuit. Back on the power we will go then as Vince then sets that 1 minute 9.529 and Formula Kai 1 minute 9.537. It's clear what some drivers are targeting, not clear what others are doing. Concept 1 minute 9.558 here. There's a clear pattern emerging right around that midfield, isn't there? Wow, this is so close, but who's actually going to be on pole?
This is quite something. Tiamat Marduk improves his time as well. 1 minute 9.484. Interesting here. You can see how compressed it is in the midfield where they think they've got that crucial calculation correct. Pretty much everybody has thrown in the towel. Infratic ends his qualifying session. It's a 1 minute 9.613. and no more. Concept 7, a 109.558. Very, very interesting indeed. Matt 212. Is he actually going for another lap time? It looks like he's tracking along using plenty of track as he heads out of the Sena del Lago and into Ferradura. Maybe one last crack at the whip here, Kieran.
Maybe indeed, as he makes his way now through in towards turn 8, now descending in towards Pinheiro, through in towards turn 9, back on the power and climbing up the hill towards turn 10. Very tricky corner then, very easy to lock an inside wheel. Back on the power as we now descend our way through in towards turn 11 and downwards we go towards Junsao, turn 12. Back on the power, he will go then hitting that apex. What sort of lap time is it going to be from Matt 212? It's currently a 1 minute 10.5 as it's just full throttle from here. If you want it to be, DRS wide open for Matt then as he makes his way onwards and upwards towards the line. It's a 1 minute 10.4 from Matt, and that's 17th fastest in the session.
Well, there we are. I think that about brings an end to proceedings. Tukey crosses the line. Meraki's invalidated his lap time. That will do it. Okay then. This is very interesting then. Once we get this time reveal, boy, what an order we could have as Meraki just slams on the anchors in front of the Williams driver. That was very rude, and a little biff in the side pod for good measure from the American Dream. That's a 5-place grid penalty from the game. But that will do it, Kieran. And now, the million-dollar question. Who on earth is on pole position?
Well, absolutely. I mean, there was a little bit of a target there. As you'll see through these lap times, there's about 5 or 6 drivers that have sort of tried to aim for a certain position. You see there, Safso did get the fastest lap of the session, 1 minute 7.5, with Tukey in second there, 1 minute 8.153. But yeah, you see just around sort of Meraki downwards, down towards Infratic there's a clear indication that they all tried to get a mid 1 minute 9, which some of them have managed to do a great job on that one. And, well, I have to say, that was one of the more interesting qualifying sessions, I do have to say, but I thoroughly enjoyed that one. And with that, we'll hand back to Tom Squared.
Well, not Tom Squared. There we go. I thought it was just going to be Tom Singular on your screens. Very, very interesting. People seemingly had an idea that it might be in the mid 1 minute 9s. Nobody got it bang on. And we're going to say that straight away. So there was going to be a point on offer for a bullseye if you hit the dead centre. That has not happened. So I think the only rightful way to reveal what the time was and in turn who is on pole position is we will eventually hear from the great man himself, TK. Obviously, we both know the times, and from behind the scenes, that was very, very interesting to watch. We're hearing that people thinking Scotty might have cooked, going with the disqualification. That's going to be very interesting. Scotty himself thinking that was calculated. So I think, should we get ready to see, should we see what the time was? And let's hear from the man himself. Hayden, let us in for it.
So with qualifying wrapped up, I'm sure you are dying to know who is on pole position, who got the closest to my lap time. Well, I can reveal that my lap time that I did around Brazil was the lap time that you all had to match. And the number of that lap time I'm going to reveal in a moment. And you will all find out the driver who will be sat on pole position. And the lap time that I did was a 1.09. 5.79. The driver closest to that lap time will be on pole position, and the driver furthest away will be starting at the back of the grid. I've been 2-time pole position driver Hayden Gullis, and now I hope you all enjoy the race.
Well. 5.79 was the point. Most people were in the right ballpark. You thought it was a 109.5. It was the 109.5. And that means not Lodinoba on pole this time. I'm very sorry to Lodinoba and the whole nation of Italy. However, we have the grid set, and I think if Carl Peranic can jump in, the legendary Carl Peranic can jump in, do you want to take us through, row by row, Carl, of what we've got in store for us?
I shall indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Tom Wilkinson. Your grid for the Brazilian Grand Prix then. Let's see who's cooked and who hath not. On the last row of the grid, unfortunately the DSQ was not the play for Scotty Designs, who's manufactured last on the grid. Safso, albeit a blinding lap, starts on 19th alongside him. Moving up, we go Dark Viper GT and Tukey. Also, not quite meeting the assignment, right on point. We then move to the next row. 16th, Alex Can't Drive with Lolinoba in P15. 9/10 of a second off. 14th was Chappers with 13th Matt 212, so a good thing he got that lap time in the end, but nowhere near breaking into the top 10. Then Kareem 70, our sprint race winner, our Intus pole man, but not pole position man, he's P12, with Ricky 03 rounding out that particular row. Skyzy just starts out the top 10 for us, with Brasin Chai, a man in the championship fight, setting a lap time on hards that got him P9. 8th place goes to Meraki then, with Chesnoy Gaming in P7 in that McLaren car. 6th place, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe people were screaming at him not to do it, but he did it anyway. The Australian sensation is P6 with that guy Vince, both V-Carbs, 6th and 5th. 4th place goes to Formula Kai in the Alpine, with Fabio doing some absolutely delightful drifting. Well, he's front of the second row. Our leading duo then, Concept 7 in P2, 21 thousandths off, but 11 thousandths off. And our pole sitter for the Brazilian Grand Prix, it's Alex Gillen.
Well, 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 Alex Gillen. If ever you needed a man to try and work it out, of course, it would be Alex Gillen to end up on pole position. I think what's fascinating is we've got the same top two that finished from Mexico a few weeks ago. Alex Gillen first, Concept 7 doing a really, really good job. From watching behind the scenes, there was one person that stood out. We were going to get a very interesting front row that would have been Alex Gillen and Tiamat Marduk. However, he went quicker and dropped himself down a couple of places.
He really did. And actually, he was kind of saying over the team radio, and we saw it on the screen, that he wanted to go about 4 tenths quicker. But I think if he hadn't have done that, he would have been close, if not on the chance for pole position. My camera doesn't want to focus today, so we're just going to have to deal with a very blurry me. But Ben was just one of these drivers that I think was either over-analysing the situation or maybe just didn't trust in the lap that he'd previously set. So went for it again when he probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, and that could have been very, very spicy. But we do have some big names towards the front end of the grid. Obviously, in Fratic and Formula Kai starting on that second row. They got a little bit involved with each other, didn't they, in the sprint, battling very, very hard, especially come the end of that. Maybe some afters between the pair of them on that first lap.
I think Brazil was going to be one of those circuits that we quite can never confirm or deny what's going to happen, because as you head into the Center S's, we've seen 3, if not 4 wide at the opening of that sprint. Yes, we're in a little bit of a longer race situation now. We've got 70-something laps ahead of us. But I think quite a few of the drivers are still going to have that same mentality where it's like the race can be won through the Center S's and as you head down the Retroposta. So who knows what we're going to see. I think our commentators are going to be busy. I think we're going to have some interesting things from behind the scenes.
100%, I think they will do. Well, on our screens now are said commentators, Kieran McGinley and Carl Perronic. Now, both of you knew the lap time going into the session. I'm going to start with you, Kieran. How enticing was that dynamic, seeing drivers flip-flopping all over the place, trying to work out the time that people thought was what they needed to aim for?
Well, it was amazing fun. I mean, just trying to see drivers, just trying to work it out and try and see what lap time they needed. It's so easy when it's just you're looking through the curtain, through the looking glass, being like, no, don't do it, but you can't say it. Yeah, I think Tiamat Marduk's going to be kicking himself on that one. But again, you can't kick yourself over something you didn't know. You just have to trust your gut at some point. And, well, for Ben, he starts in 6th place. I mean, in fairness to him, still not a bad starting position. But, yeah, I don't know about you, Carl. Alex Gillen starting on pole. No matter what we throw at him, he just manages to find that pole position sometimes.
Doesn't he just? And that's why he's our second 2-time champion in Creator Series and gunning for a 3rd. He's just got that level of experience. He knows what the tricks are. He knows exactly what to extract out of every single session. And, well, I think needless to say, he played that session to absolute perfection. Unbeknownst to him, obviously, but he did play it to perfection. So interesting to see the different approaches, though. So incredibly interesting. I think the smuggest man out there, though, is going to be Captain Smug himself, Hayden Gullis, with people setting 1-minute 7s. He's going to think he's going to think he's a pace merchant. Unbelievable.
He's been flattered quite significantly there by people like Safso, jumping straight in there, straight for the juggler in the 107s there, like he said. Some drivers, though, were a long way off further back. We saw people end up in the 12, some people in the 11s as well. Did you find those tactics interesting from watching? Were you expecting drivers the likes of maybe, we had Dart Viper, I think, towards the back. Did you think they were going to go for it later on, Kieran?
Yes and no. I thought some of them did hold back for sure. But, you know, it's one of those things where it's a case if you don't want to go quicker than the lap time that you think it is, because if you do that, then there's no way to get closer to that lap time again. You can only get yourself further away. So it's a case of who's that Olympian that likes to break his pole vault record by one centimetre every single time, just to make sure he gets the payout for breaking the world record every time. It's a bit like that. You've got a target time there, then you'll have your delta, and you're just looking for maybe a tenth, 2 tenths, half a tenth, just eating away at that lap time with the laps you do around the track. It's not easy to do whatsoever. And if you've got multiple sources of information telling you one time is in the 109s, another one's in the 111s or 112s, then where do you go? Which lap time do you pull out and say that's the lap time I'm aiming for?
And Carl, obviously we've seen you driving a couple of times in the Creator Series. From a driver's perspective, even if you know the lap time you're aiming for, how difficult is it to actually achieve that lap time and get as physically close as you possibly can?
Honestly, it's more difficult than you think, I feel like, because you have to choose where to compromise. That's the thing. And you have to keep it consistent, particularly when you've got a session like that. When you are pushing to the absolute gills, usually, where do you put the pace down? Where do you compromise? And how do you apply that consistently as well? So you know that the rate of improvement isn't all that significant. It's an extremely awkward dynamic for a qualifying session, but equally, one that a lot of people have actually mastered pretty well. Some also earlier than others. I mean, in the case of Fabio, set his lap time very early on in the day, decided, okay, I'm calling it quits. I'm going to burn some rubber, which again, the protesters might not be happy with, but they didn't stop it this time. But he was right to do so in the end. Again, unbeknownst to him, but he was right to do so. And again, just like I say, very interesting to see the different approaches, and interesting to see some just put too many eggs in the basket.
100%. And the way it was flip-flopping, we thought it was going to be Chappers coming in late. We thought Concept 7 was in there as well. We thought Alex Gillen obviously was there, and Ben making a bit of a mess of it come the end of it, but leaving himself still in a very decent position. I think we should have a word about Fabio, because Carl, you mentioned it in the sprint, back in that Williams, that he's had some success in so far this season. Kieran, how strongly do you think Fabio can compete at this? Yes, he's got Alex Gillen in front of him. Yes, he's got Concept as well, who's in a Ferrari, but that Williams ain't too shabby.
No, it's not. And it's sort of proven in a straight line it's actually quite handy. So we'll see what he can do. I mean, he needs a bit of a pick-me-up. It's been since second race of the season, he got a podium there, third place for him. And since then, things haven't worked out his way. He's been caught up in incidents. Some he's been at fault for, some he hasn't. But in any case, it's not been a great time for him. What a way to get right back into form and show everyone what you can do again, by absolutely smashing out of the park. He smashed qualifying there. He smashed getting as close to the lap time as possible. He's in a really good position. We'll see what he can do.
And finally, Carl, a little bit of a chatter about our sprint runner, Kareem 70, starting a little bit further down in P12, but with the confidence that he must be oozing after that sprint race victory, and a comfortable one as well. How quickly do you think he can battle his way through and challenge for a podium, maybe even more?
Sky's the limit, I think, with Kareem 70. Honestly, I think that sprint win will have done an immense amount of favours for him, which is wonderful to see. And what he did in the sprint race that he's done quite a few times when he's had no racing line is just be a little bit more patient. He's just backed it off slightly in terms of the braking zone, in terms of his approach into the corners when he was following some of the other cars. So immediately you can see he has been learning. There has been incremental improvements as he goes through. And if he can keep that up in the main event, well, boy, who knows? It could be the mighty double for Kareem 70.
Well, there is so much magic, isn't there, in the history of the Brazilian Grand Prix in Formula One. We have a grid that's a little bit mixed up, but there is still a very familiar face on the front row. Moments away from kicking off what is a 71-lap race. And if Brazil in the history of Formula One is anything to go by, expect the unexpected, and maybe a little bit of a sprinkling of rain as well. While I've got you here, very quickly, two commentators, Kieran and Carl, let's get some predictions in for your Brazilian Grand Prix winner.
Well, Gillen's on pole. It would be, you'd put your mortgage on him converting that to a victory. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But Ben's been in such good form. I see him overturning that. It's 6th place. He gained 14 places in the sprint. Kareem as well, he's in great form, absolutely walked the sprint. Can he do a similar job? He has to start a little bit further back this time around, but could be any one of those three. I'm going to roll the dice and I'm going to say Ben.
Oh, big shout, big shout. Carl, what about you?
See, this is interesting, right? Gillen has the track position, fair play to him, firstly. But that Sauber, I mean, I was checking the times on the telemetry through the sprint. That Sauber looked a handful to drive. The tyres weren't that dissimilar in age. He had clear air, and he was still lapping, 6 tenths almost slower than the race leader and a couple of tenths off the lead train. So the Sauber, whether that's been ironed out with setup or not, I don't know. But it looked a handful to drive out there. and the V-carb looked extremely poised. So I can't see why Tiamat Marder couldn't win this race. In fact, he's probably top of my list. Kareem 70, if he can carve through the traffic, I think he's right in the conversation as well.
Well, I think we should serve up some very interesting action, don't you? The voices of the Brazilian Grand Prix here for the Creator Series. Once again, the brilliant Carl Poranik and Kieran McGinley.
Thank you very much, Tom. Yes, we're just in the paddock then, basking in the glorious sunshine and about to take on the 4.3 kilometres of the circuit Interlagos. Amazing track here, which has its history all the way back in 1973. Of course, it was a lot longer circuit back then. Now it's just been cut down to the 4.3 kilometres. Fun fact, though, the lap record of 1 minute 10.540 in motorsport Formula 1 set by Valtteri Bottas back in 2018. We've got 71 laps ahead of us and probably plenty of safety cars. When it rains here in Brazil, it normally does pour. Watch out as well for that turn 3. It might not be replicated just as well, but there normally is a lake that forms across there. And be careful of the curb on the inside of turn 3. I won't give anything away in the sprint, but just be careful, okay? We've all got that clear. Carl, it's a fantastic place to go racing. Plenty of undulation, plenty of titles have been won here, dreams have been shattered, and just plenty of absolutely brilliant races along the way.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, it's just a haven for iconic races, is the Brazilian Grand Prix. I mean, let's put it in the conversation. Last year, 2024, Verstappen, 17th to the race win in the wet conditions. Absolutely biblical drive from himself. 2021, Lewis Hamilton's almighty charge through Interlagos. 2008 even, in the 1990s when Senna finally won in Interlagos at his home race with gearbox problems. You could put so many different races and years into that conversation, but that's why we love this track to absolute pieces. In Creator Series folklore, doesn't disappoint either. And you said it rains, it pours. Well, with psychological artillery at stake as well, when it rains, it most certainly pours on that front too.
It really does. I mean, it's a heck of a front two to really keep your wits about you, that is for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. Alex Gillen, I mean, absolutely smashed it. Of course he did. He had that analytical side. Was there any doubt that he could really snatch that pole position in a time and in a qualifying session that was no longer about who had the fastest time, but more getting to a target lap time that people didn't know? And if you did know, then it was in this cloud of other lap times that it could have been as well. Very hard to actually pick out which lap time you would need for that particular moment. But it's fair to say it has sizably jumbled up the grid, but we shall see how this all plays out when we go racing here at Interlagos. The formation lap is underway, and it is Alex Gillen who will lead the field down towards the first corner for the first time. You can see the majority of the field starting this one on the medium tyres. The exceptions to that, Formula Kai, who starts up in 4th place, he's starting on the hard tyres, so he's going to have to be looking a bit in his mirrors at the start of this race. Alex Gillen, our pole sitter, is starting on the soft tyres. Razin also on the soft, so both Saubers, they're not teammates, they can do whatever they like, but they're both starting on the soft tyres. Matt 212 looking to go longer into this race in 15th place. He starts on the hard tyres, and Savso, who set the fastest lap time of the qualifying session, starts down in 19th. I feel there's a cruel irony in it.
I couldn't agree more with you. Lolinoba immediately staking his claim of intent for this race, just scything through the pack. But while he does that, yes, the Brazilian Grand Prix, I mean, what a track. What a track in Creator Series, what a track in the real world. It does not disappoint at any opportunity. It's absolutely wonderful. Plenty of overtaking opportunities. You've got, of course, the Senna S with the DRS assistance as we look at Kareem 70's face cam, as he's just assessing proceedings. Gillen saying overtaking is difficult here. Yes, it is at the best of times, but still a few places where you can make the moves matter. Senna S, of course, the run from Reta Aposta into the Cida do Lago, maybe some weldies at Ferradura, maybe a dive or two at Bico de Pato, setting you up for Jung Sao maybe. Just a few places where you can get a bit creative. We'll see if Alex Gillen can hold track position. Usually in F125, clear air is king. Will that ring true today, Kieran?
Well, we're about to find out. Watch out, championship leader Meraki in 7th place. Tiamat Marder, who made brilliant inroads in the sprint race, starts in 6th place. 2nd place in the championship is on pole position. Razin, who's 4th in the championship, he starts in 8th place. That guy Vince, who's 5th in the championship, starts in 5th. We got it absolutely spot on there. Well, we're just waiting for the last McLaren. I think that's Matt 212 to take his place on the grid then. And we're all ready for the Creator Series here for round number 7 here at Interlagos. Not many rounds left, but for sure, this should be a good one. It's the Brazilian Grand Prix in the Creator Series, and we count out now to 5 red lights. We go racing in Brazil. What are the starts like here? Good start from Alex Gillen. He's going to make his way down towards turn 1. Emphatic draws side by side now with Concept heading away in towards the Center S for the very first time. TMM Arctic up into 4th place and battling away with Formula Kai. Great start from the Aussie. He makes his way up into 4th place. Formula Kai will get the drag though down in towards the next corner, the 4th corner at Decina de Lago. As an Alpine there looking for a move. Formula Kai thinking about it. There's a Haas of Lolly Nova, I think, who's really got the bit between his teeth. He's now back up into 11th place as Chesnoy trying to fight his way through the field. He started, I think, 9th in that one, but he's already down to P13 as we head our way through in towards turn 6 and 7. Everyone's made it through so far so good, but there's plenty of an armada making its way now through in towards the infield section. Vince then in 7th place. He's dropped a couple of positions there. Razin has managed to make his way up into 6th. Meraki, championship leader, knows that these moves at the start are going to be so important. We heard from Gillen that overtaking here is difficult. It's tricky, not easy to do. We saw that in the sprint as well, how dirty air is really going to affect the field. If you're leading it, it should be okay. If you're a driver behind, maybe not so much. But after the first lap's worth of racing, all 20 cars are facing the right way, and it's Alex Gillen at the head of the field.
Yeah, using the softer rubber to good effect off the start there. Concept 7 almost caught out by Fabio as Razin Shine looking to make moves and does make moves on the soft compound tyres. Clearly hold the advantage at the moment. Past Formula Kai he goes. Scorching start from Ben. Scorching start from Kareem 70 and Lolinova as well. The Mercedes man up ahead as we look at the Italian stallion looking to pile on the pressure on Meraki. He in turn trying to turn defence into attack. We're already being told Ben is egregiously down on fuel. We expect nothing less from the Australian sensation. Alex Gillen just trying to hold the margin here. He said it was difficult to overtake. We've seen one Mercedes car already send it into Vico de Pato as Safso just runs rings round the outside at Ferradura. That was a marvellous move from our PS1 Hagrid.
Yeah, it really was. And now up into 14th place. He might be sizing up Tuki here as he'll make his way once again around the outside. He's starting on the soft tyres and he's making them really work to good effect now. Up 5 places from where he started in P19 and now down in towards the final braking zone at Jun Sao as we make our way back onto the power once again. We've got Tuki right ahead of him. In fact, Tuki's made a couple of positions from this start as well, so he's had a brilliant start. Has Tuki there. Riding on board now with Ricky as he looks to try and find a way past Skyzy then as we make our way on towards the Center S for the 3rd time in this race. Razin sets the fastest lap of this race. His plenty drivers on the little deep in towards the first part of the Center S, but we should be able to get away with that as we make our way now onwards then towards the Retro Aposta back straight as we see the Red Bull there trying to make its way through. That's Tuki down the inside. He'll have the inside line heading in towards Decina de Lago, and he's got the move done then. Tuki up into 12th place. Everyone really has DRS on each other apart from Dark Fiber, who's fallen out of range of Chappers in that battle for 60.
See, just as we rode on board with Ben there, how much the V-car was hurting in the dirty air. Just washed out wide through Ferradura. Safso making moves behind though. He's past Ricky 03. Again, Ferradura, the happy hunting ground for the Ferrari faithful. Very nice to see. But this is where Alex Gillen will try and put his theory into practice. On paper, he's absolutely correct, but on tarmac, completely different story. This is where Concept 7 & Co. need to set up the exit out of Jung Sao, save up the battery throughout the lap, and then burn it all. Expend the electrical energy down towards the Center S's as we head on to lap number 4. Ben gaining and pushing the battery. Fabio defends to the inside. Concept 7 moves into the lead in Brazil. Ben tries to hold it round the outside. Fabio leaves plenty of space for the V-carb driver, who will have the second dose of DRS and the podium places to boot. Rasin Chai though, he's looking to make it double trouble in the world of the Williams man. Formula Kai might get involved as well as he tries to run it round the outside. Fabio defends diligently for the moment and looks for round 2 on the kick Sauber ahead.
Yeah, for Infratide, he didn't really have a good run going out of the 3rd corner then, the Curva de Sol, and it really hurt him on the run down towards the Decina de Lago. As we ride on board then with Formula Kai. We get back onto the power out of the 9th corner of the circuit here, and you see Infratide going slightly defensive in towards the next corner at turn 10. Back on the power we go. We're descending our way through turn 11 and onwards then towards Jun Sao. Concept leads the way then. He's made the move on Alex Gillen. Made it in through turn 1. Then it's Tim Marduk in 3rd. Razin Shai in 4th. Fratic 5th, Formula Guy in 6th, that guy Vince in 7th, Meraki in 8th, Kareem 70 in 9th, and Lolinova rounding off the top 10. Lolinova has also had a good start in this race, kept it clean, and got himself now up into that top 10. Battling to be done though, because Formula Kai is looking for a move on Infratic, but in turn has to be careful from the likes of that guy Vince. Meraki and Kareem are going side by side then through in towards the third corner at the Curve de Sol. We'll see who manages to get out on top. I think Kareem has just about got a nose ahead there, and you see the Haas's, Meraki and Lolinova battling away for position. Lolinova gets a move up the inside. He gets slightly wide there. What's their contact between the two Haas's? They're not teammates. They're out for themselves, but Lolinova is up into 9th. And look at Meraki in the background there up the inside of Tukey.
Assassination between Lolinova and Meraki, the championship leader, sent spiralling down a couple of places as Sapso could finally get his man. He's been staring at the rear wing of the Red Bull for so long. Red is usually what makes the balls tick, and you know what? A rude shove to the outside from Tukey, and Sapso will really be seeing red. Rather appropriate given his car for this weekend, but he still hasn't got his man. He's got to sit behind Tukey for at least another lap. Kareem 17 looks to be a man on the move though. He's closing in now on that guy Vince, the closest gap within the top 10, and could it be another dive into turn number 1?
We'll wait and see then. Tim Marduk just not reminding Gillen that he's there. Not that Gillen needs any reminding whatsoever. Concept leads then from Alex Gillen in 2nd. Tim Marduk then rounding off the top 3 as everyone's pretty much in DRS of each other at this moment in time. It is a 20-car train, all with DRS at this moment in time. So pick your battles wisely and make sure you look after your tyres, your battery and your fuel in these early stages. We've got Formula Kai who's on the hard tyres. I think he's the highest hard tyre runner. And I did say he had a lot of looking backwards here to do, but there is Sapso once again trying to move up the inside of Tukey then. He's had to get it at turn 7 there, but he has got the move done. And Sapso now moves himself up into 12th place. Sapso knows he has to make those Red Bull soft tyres work to an absolute T in these opening stages. And up into 12th place he goes. Kareem and that guy Vince are having a battle here. We're on board with Tiamat Marduk as he makes his way now through in towards Chunsao. And back onto the power we go then. Gillen right ahead of him. So important for the championship for Tiamat Marduk to try and find a way past Alex Gillen. He might just have to bide his time here. Gillen will have to look after those soft tyres he's on. Whereas Tiamat Marduk is on the mediums here. We head away onwards towards the centre S as Gillen looks for it. He lunges down the inside. There's contact between himself and Concept there as Tiamat Marduk right on the rear wing, right on the diffuser now of Alex Gillen. That's a warning sign if ever I've seen one there, but Gillen launching it from miles back, not even in the same postcode as Concept. But there goes Tiamat Marduk. He's trying to go round the outside there, going through in towards the Descida del Lago, but no way through. And that's opening up opportunities for Razin here to try and find a way through, but he can't quite capitalise.
Gloves well and truly off then. Had to properly throw the defensive shapes to keep Tiamat Marduk behind, who's practically shaving his diffuser off. Coming out of the centre S's, unbelievable battling here. Concept 7, well, would have been caught by surprise, really. I imagine it was completely accidental. Team radio, and yes, indeed, that was not the intention from Mr. Alex Gillen. But Ben, look at how close he is as they head into Chunsao for the 7th time this race. And we both touted him, Kieran. We both said that he would be right at the sharp end, at the right top of the tree. And he's trying to make that particular theory a reality. DRS, wide open, onto lap number 8. The Ferrari man still leads. Ben burning the battery. Doesn't look like Alex is going to fight this one too hard. So down the inside goes the wonder from down under. And are those mediums just starting to just ignite into life?
Yeah, I think so. It might be a combination there. Alex Gillen might have locked up those tyres and has to cool down the tyres for the time being. But of course, all the time he's in the traffic, he has to manage that to a T. Lolinova, meanwhile, is up into 8th place. There's a battle there. Kareem having to go round the outside of Skyzy to try and make a move for 9th place. Doesn't quite work out. But that is Lolinova, who's up into 8th place now as we make our way through towards turn 6 and 7 there. As all that Mercedes runs a little bit deep. Meraki finds a way down the inside now as we head our way through in towards turn 8. Back on the power down in towards turn 9. Kareem will have back the inside line. He'll try and get the power down, but now he'll be on the outside as we head away through in towards turn 10. Might find the better drive out of this corner though, but it looks like Meraki's got the move done, and championship leader moves himself now up into the top 10.
Good battling there all the way through. Look at this, Kareem, an average collector of 4 Ford Model Ts, hence the 70 in his name. It turns out, though, this fact is not true. Well, there you go. We've all been swindled. The Red Bull round, though, and that's Scotty Designs with a yellow flag. Briefly, he's back on his merry way out of Zheng Sao. But that's another way confidence is dented. You saw it with Kareem 17, was fighting up with that guy Vince for the top 7, but he's been shuffled down 3 places. That's the way the pendulum swings, in such a horrible way. But the top 5 now, you can see them all in your picture pretty much. In fact, second down to 5th. Tiamat Marduk, Alex Gillen, Razin Chai, Infratic, all pretty much line astern. Ben has eyes on only one prize though, and it's the Ferrari ahead of him.
It is indeed. You can see, Ben loves to run a car that's under-fueled. He absolutely relishes it, in fuel saving towards the end of the race. He gambles on those safety cars happening so he can really just get back into positive fuel delta. We saw at Singapore how he came very, very close, left it till about 2 to 3 laps to go before he was able to get back positive on the fuel delta. By that point, he was pretty much slightly in the race of his own. His Scotty Designs, by the way, is out of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and it looks like he's gone straight on at turn 9, and his safety car has been deployed. Now then, what's the decision? I would assume Alex is going to come into the pits here. Tiamat Marduk into the pits. Concept stays out. Now that could be a critical move here, but you've got pretty much all but Formula Kai and Concept all diving into the pits to get themselves a new fresh set of boots, but Alex Gillen has got a 10-second penalty for a collision with Razin. 10 seconds, that's massive for championship standings here. Hard tyres go on for Razin Chai.
Also, can I just say, did Razin overtake Alex into the pit lane? 'Cause I don't remember them being that way round. That's very, very interesting. Concept saying, what do we do here? You're committed now, my friend, it's too late. But you are P1 though, still, is the Ferrari man. Playing it on the old mediums, Formula Kai, no reason he should pit, of course, he's on the hard compound tyres. Matt 2-on-2 then goes into P3. Tiamat Marduk emerges from the pit lane as the first of the cars with a fresh set of Pirelli boots on in P4. Razin in P5, he's got a penalty next to his name as well. So both Kick Saubers in the wars here, and for that by extension, 2 championship frontrunners in the wars at early stages here at the Brazilian Grand Prix. We knew it could throw up some spice, it already has.
It already has. I'd love to see what the penalty is for Razin as well, because we saw it was 10 seconds for Alex. I wonder if it's 10 seconds as well to Razin, and it is. So I think your theory's right here, Carl. It's a case of they both collided. Razin managed to get himself ahead, and what's probably happened is they've collided, then been reset in the pit lane, and then they both get themselves 10-second penalties for colliding with each other, and Concept saying maybe we should have boxed.
He is about a minute and a half too late on that particular call, but you know what? I appreciate him for noticing. Meanwhile, what do both Kick Saubers do? I imagine probably at least one of them is going to box and rid themselves of a 10-second time penalty, which would be extremely banterous if they actually got another penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Razin doesn't make that particular premonition come true. He's in to get rid of his penalty. So is Alex Gillen, and therefore, I believe, normal car performance order in the Kick Sauber department will be resumed. They are slapped to the back of the pecking order, and, well, the civil war from the sprint race very much continues.
I wonder how long this safety car is going to stay out, because of course, if you're Alex and Razin, you've obviously got 10 seconds if you're allowed to serve them, of course, if it lets you serve them. But we'll see how they all get on, and will they be allowed to catch up to the safety car? What sort of tyres will they jump onto? I think they've both emerged on the hard tyre, so will they go back onto the mediums? Well, we know Alex hasn't used the mediums yet, but we shall wait and see. I'm sure we'll have all the stories and whatnot as they all come out then, but top 3 have not yet stopped in this race. Concept, Formula Kai and Matt 2-on-2 all staying out, so they occupy the top 3 spots, but you already see the radio message of Concept coming through. Maybe he already has regrets that he wasn't quick enough to react there coming into the pit lane. In fairness to him, he didn't have long to make a decision, but could that come back to bite him in 60 laps time?
Quite possibly. Definitely in the short term, he'll feel the effects of it. I mean, it's the song and dance of F125. When you have tyres, even if they are only 9 laps older, you are going to be in extreme turmoil. Meanwhile, that guy Vince, surprise package apparently, used to be the session drummer for The Fly. How about that? How about that? Just another set of fun facts, along with the collection of Model Ts that Kareem 17 has been garnering up over the years. We are under safety car here at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Concept 7, Formula Kai and Matt 2-on-2 are in the top 3, visually on for a podium. However, they are yet to box. And like you say, Kieran, that could come back to bite them in a big, big way.
I do hope that that guy Vince has got some sort of time machine seen to the year 3000. We're going to wait and see. But Razin Shah
I
is
hope he gets
saying,
royalties.
yeah, it could be that. But Razin says that Alex should have expected me to try and overtake. Well, again, they're not teammates. You should. Sorry, Gareth is having a go because that was busted. That was the point. I like it because you're busted now. There we go. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, Razin and Alex obviously are not teammates, although they're in the same car. So it's a driver-only championship for this season. So it could be civil war between them. There we go. Yes, Concept probably will be feeling that a little bit later on, unless there's another safety car, which could possibly save him a little bit. But we need the race to go on for a little bit longer before that happens. But then he's got pretty much all hard tyre runners behind him. So yeah, it should be an interesting one, that's for sure.
I completely agree. Meanwhile, safety car in this lap. TK has been saying, our man on the ground in the pit lane, he's saying McBusted, I guess. Well, if you actually check their leaked files, and I don't know if you want to go and investigate this, if you check their leaked files, it just says something about order number noise.mp3. Listen, I don't know what that means, but regardless, we are going to get ready to go racing here at Brazil. Lap number 12, Concept 7 will lead us away. It's up to Formula Kai to try and read the restart. However, Concept 7 puts his foot flat to the floor, and we are back racing here in Brazil, and it's a rapid restart from Tiamat Marduk, who times his run to perfection, already down the inside, and he could get 2 for the price of 1 very, very quickly, because Formula Kai with a little lock-up into the Senna S's.
Well, that's no surprise. He's on the fresher tyres now. He's just going to have to try and make his way through the field and dispatch the likes of Kai and Concept up ahead of him now, as Tuki now makes his way up into the top 10, battling away with Kareem, but Kareem flies his way back through down the inside then as they make their way through the Vecino de Largo. Riding on board now with Tiamat Marduk as he follows Formula Kai. Now through in towards this mid part of the track in turns 8 and 9 we go. Concept still leading the way, but on those medium tyres he started the race on. Put it under the safety car. Sapso, meanwhile, is in 9th place, meanwhile. And look at this, he's looking for a move down the inside of Skyzy then. Gets the move done, gets the power down, moves up into 8th place. He's on the medium tyres. He started on the softs. He's going very aggressive here. There's Kareem, who takes full advantage there of the door left open by Skyzy. Moves himself now up into 9th place. And Skyzy's all out of shape here because now he's under pressure from the likes of Tuki. Who's got through. Meraki, the championship leader, is also right on the back of the Alpine here. And you see just a little bit of battling, maybe a little bit of wheel banging that just upsets the car a little bit, and already for Skyzy he's lost about 3 positions. This could be 4 with Meraki trying to loop his way round the outside of the second part of the Senna S and through in towards the curve of Soul, and that was Ricky getting all sorts of out of shape there and managing to hang on to it.
That was a scintillating save from Ricky, who just caught out by the speed. Pratic, though, goes through on Matt 212. He cooked in the Williams at round number 2. And so on the second lap of post-safety car racing, he's up to P4. Excellent stuff. Love this from Safso, though. Hyper-aggressive. A bit of contact, though. Sends him wide at the exit of turn 7. Scotty saying the wall needed a hug. I gave it a hug. Ever the loving creature is Scotty designed, by the way. Lap number 14, Safso just sends it down the inside at Pico de Pato, not without making contact with the diffuser of that guy, Vince. If he can just hold the traction round the outside, he'll be feeling the effects of dirty air. He'll be feeling wounded and bruised, though, with a bit of wheel banging on the exit. Can he plant the power down on his medium compound tyres? That question remains to be answered. Into the wall, though, goes in Pratic. Massive moment. There's a conglomeration of cars between Tiamat Marduk, Formula Kai, and the Williams, who comes off way worse in that exchange.
Yeah, and didn't pit. I think he was gambling on a safety car and he was going to stay out there, but it hasn't happened. It hasn't been deployed. So he's going to have to go all the way around for another lap just to get a new front wing on. But Formula Kai then in 3rd place then. There's Lolinoba, who's trying to go and make moves on Safso, but Safso round the outside is trying to take that position from him. And here we go then, now climbing our way through towards turn 5, but one of the narrowest parts of the track here. Safso moves himself now up into 6th place. That's Safso from 19th on the grid. Tuki, meanwhile, trying to get a move done on Kareem here as we make our way through in towards turn 8. Now and through turn 9, they're still running side by side. Red Bull versus Mercedes here as they now make the climb up towards turn 10. Again, Tuki down the inside of Kareem. He gets the power down. They'll now have the inside line for pretty much the rest of the lap now, will Kareem. Down in towards turn 11, now in towards Jun Sao, starting the third sector. They're still running side by side here, but Kareem gets the power down, still has that inside line, and still, I'd still say they're running side by side still. There's Tim Amado who goes through to take the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix here in the Creator Series. But how about that battling between the likes of Kareem and Tuki? Still they battle through in towards the center S. Still they make their way through. And Infratic speeding in the pit lane. I think I know what the next message is going to be. It has Infratic retiring from the race, on board with that guy Vince, who looks to try and find a way through. It past Matt 212, moving towards the Decido de Largo, but no way through. Matt 212 yet to stop in this race.
Yeah, the shimmy and the shake from that guy Vince was sort of caught in two minds about whether to go really aggressive to the inside or go to the outside and try and have momentum in his favour. Keep an eye though as Meraki is just line astern with Tuki. He's going to try and make his way through here in towards the left-hander, and he does comfortably before they've even made the corner. That guy Vince versus Sapso. As Sapso is just hustling and harrying the V-car round the track. Team radio from Fabio, angry strongman noises. Well, it's nothing that a good bench press can't cure. As through the final corner on lap number 16, that guy Vince will keep the DRS. It's elbows out stuff here, Kieran. This is absolutely electric stuff.
It really is, and Savso just getting up close and personal with that guy Vince's rear diffuser there, going through towards turn 10. I don't think Vince would have appreciated that too much. But Kareem then, Lolly Nova locks up here. This could be an opportunity for Kareem. You can see he's locked in here now as we head our way through the Curve of the Soul. Onward then towards the back straight, the Reto Aposta, down towards the Cida, the Largo. But you see there Kareem potentially just managing that battery just a little bit at this stage. And starts to fall a little bit behind on Lolly Nova. But we shall have to wait and see as we make our way up the hill then. As there's battling going on up ahead as we head our way through towards turn 6 and 7. That looks like it's the case of Vince Safso and Lolly Nova, who are all really getting into a bit of a fight here at this stage. Vince holding on to that position, but Savso here is trying to make his medium tyres work to really good effect. He'll have to go the long way round this time in towards turn 10. Runs deep into the corner, but can't quite get the move done. Does he get a better run through 11 and down towards Jun Sao? Not this time, but we make our way through in towards and up the hill we go. We're approaching that sort of quarter of the race part, and we'll have to hand over to our very own TK from the pit lane for a bit of a mid-race report. How are you doing, Tom?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much. It's been an interesting race from down here in the pit lane. I've seen quite a few cars make their way through, two of them not making their way back out onto the circuit, as we saw with Scotty Symes and Infratic, both of them unfortunately taking early showers, one of them in a more rage-induced moment rather than the other. Scotty obviously wanted to give the wall a bit of a hug. There's been lots of chatter behind the scenes about tyres and what exactly people wanted to do under safety cars. Nobody was quite aware what the correct answer was. Of course, there is a bit of sprinkling of rain on the horizon. Our radar showing roughly around lap 35 to 39 is where we're expecting the downpour to come. But don't worry, folks at home, it is only going to be light rain hitting your virtual racetrack, so all of our drivers should be able to make it through until that downpour starts to come. But the battling's been fantastic. All the drivers are looking in good spirits. And for one, I'm excited for the rest of this race.
Thank you very much, Tom. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's great battling going on as just you were having a conversation there with us as Sapso trying to make his medium tyres work. So if that's the case, then Sapso has to make his medium tyres run at least another 18 to 20 laps before he can even think about doing anything else. And of course, how much will the rain change up the track? We see then Vince has got a run on concept here as he'll make a move and look to go right round the outside. Doesn't even need to make a move round the outside. He's got the move done. Going in towards the corner, but Concept runs into the back of him there, loses stability in the car, and that is going to make sure that he is easy picking surely for Lolly Nova. He'll get right tucked up into the slipstream. You see Concept is dumping the battery to just make sure he just avoids any momentum loss there. He's done well to really just make sure that he stays in that battle, but now that's a chance for Lolly Nova. Maybe the battery surplus there perhaps. There's Kareem as well, who's looking to try and find a way through against Lolly Nova. Whoa, big snap from Lolly Nova there. Held onto that one, but that's showing the pressure of Kareem and Safso right behind him. it's all well and good. You can put on the attack, but you've got to make sure you are really doing the motions yourself as the Mercedes gets it all out of shape. Kareem there trying to hang on to that position. This is brilliant stuff.
Race of splendid saves, the race of brutal battling, and ladies and gentlemen, it's not even lap 20 yet. Team at Marduk will cut the beam, he's got 2 seconds worth of a gap. We're watching Kareem 70, who's got a bucket of popcorn as he waits for Lolin over to get past Concept 7, who actually is going to peel into the pit lane, so the Ferrari man throws in the towel on his first set of medium tyres, and that of course will lose him an absolutely horrendous amount of time. It's like 3 wide, it's a turn number 1, Alex Gillen trying to go through on both Chappers and Dark Viper. Still they run side by side to the Mercedes and the Kick Sauber, and Chappers wins out that particular exchange for now, but it's the run down towards the Cida do Lago. Red Bull up ahead also fighting. Tukey versus Razin right round the outside. Goes Razin up to P10. Both Kick Saubers here on a mission. One thing to keep an eye out on when people are battling is particularly turn number 4, Casino del Lago. We just went through it there, but the outside curve on F125 is lethal. It's a bit of a sticky one, but if you turn on the overtake too late there as well, you can drop the traction in an instant. So expect a lot of hyper-aggressive defending just to send their competitors into a disadvantageous part of the track.
Just having a look at Tukey as well. I think he's got a bit of front wing damage on the car, which might be why he's struggling a little bit. I'll have to see if TK can confirm that for us with Tukey. Front wing damage potentially. It's on the right-hand side there of the car. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see what he can do. Might work out that he's quicker in a straight line, but he might be struggling through the corners. And Razin is right now on the back of Skyzy as he makes his way back in towards that DRS zone. But Razin and Alex both bit between their teeth. They know that scoring points here is going to be so critical, considering that TM at Marduk has got a 2.2 second lead over Formula Kai. I have to say, actually, Kai and Matt, they haven't pitted. They didn't pit under the safety car. They're still on the hard tyres they started this race on, and they're doing a good job. That guy Vince is 2 seconds back from the both of them. I guess they could try and work together. If they are waiting for rain that could be on the horizon, they'll just have to try and eat those hard tyres out as much as they can. They give themselves a really good track position towards the end of this race.
I'd argue a great job even, just to extend the compliments even further. 9 laps older tyres and they're able to extract the pace, just like this. Similar lap times, Tim at Marduk on the last lap of 1:12.1, Formula Kai only a 10th off, Matt 2:12, about 2/10 off. That guy Vince was a 12.3, pretty much identical time to what Matt 2:12 did. So not exactly reeling in the competition as quickly as he might have wanted to, but I mean the gaps are ridiculous. The train was all the way down from P4 down to P17. Dark Viper's just disconnected from it. But even so, what a train of cars we have. And we've seen inklings of what the battling is already going to look like. And that's without the added pressure of that final flurry of laps.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, Kai and Matt will be wanting the likes of Vince and Lolin over to battle with each other and go side by side, because the more they do that, the more they cost themselves time. And even though the likes of Vince, Lolin over and Kareem and Safso, they're all on fresher tyres than Kai and Matt, if they can't use them to good effect whilst they're running side by side, it's a case of, you know, they're not using those tyres to good effect, especially those that are on fresher tyres, about 10 lap fresher tyres, 9 or 10 laps give or take, fresher tyres at this point in the race. And it turns out, well, Concept was on the medium tyres, so it was going to be a big challenge for him to get to any sort of pit window. We're looking at sort of rain in the next 10 to 15 minutes potentially, and we don't know if that rain is going to stick around for the rest of the race. So that lies in part as well. The sort of drivers will have an idea of how much it will rain. They'll have an idea of maybe if they need to jump onto a set of intermediates, but clearly Kai and Matt here want, you know, that intermediate to really shine on through, as there goes Lolin over down the inside of Vince, then through in towards the first part of the centre S. He's not hanging around anymore. He got the DRS, he got the move done, and moves himself now ahead of Vince and up into 4th place. Vince has the DRS then on the run down the Reta Aposta and down to Cida del Lago, but the Haas stays ahead. Lolin over 4th place now, and really a man on a mission here. He's got 2 seconds to the car ahead. What can he do from here?
Who knows? That's the query. We'll have the answers. I am very sure indeed. It's just trying to become acquainted to this Haas car. Of course, that guy Vince, not exactly making an impression. Formula Kai with some great pace, by the way. Matt 2-on-2. Being towed along somewhat, but still, nonetheless, very consistent, solid pace from Kai. on the older tyres. Now we'll see what Lolinova can apply. He's only caught realistically by about 0.2 of a second on this lap as well, depending on what he can garner up through Jung Sao as well. But that guy fits well within DRS. Kareem's got a good exit also out of that particular corner. So now it's the drag race onto lap number 24. And look at that, pulling to the inside is Lolinova to try and break the toe. Aggressive braking of the slipstream from the Haas driver. That guy Vince, therefore, not poised and in position to try and throw a move to the inside line. As just Ben is stretching his legs out front. Only needs to be a couple of tenths of a second ahead of what Formula Kai is doing. Of course, he's got the fuel to worry about, but at the moment, the V-Carb man completely in control.
This moment in time, yes, 3.4 second lead for Ben at the top, as Alex Gillen makes away past Ricky Ford, 12th place there, as there's the Aston Martin of Dark Viper and the McLaren of Chesnoy Gaming battling away for 16th place in the race. They're just outside of the points, but you never know what could happen up ahead. Right on board then with Matt 212, as he's looking with Formula Kai here. I wonder if there's been some sort of unspoken alliance between these two, as to try and work together so that Lolinova doesn't catch them as quickly as possible. We saw this from Matt in the sprint earlier on today, that he's just bide his time and make the right move at the right time, and it got him a position at the end of the sprint race, which I'm sure he was absolutely delighted with. Now though, sort of the shoes on the other foot, he sort of has to try and work with Formula Kai, not battling too much so that Lolinova can't catch them on the straights. They'll catch them through the corners, but it's the straights here with DRS that maybe they can extend that gap a little bit. It will also help in terms of Kai and Matt's case if Vince battles Lolinova. That's the last thing Lolinova wants, because again, that gap has just sort of stayed at that 1.8, 1.9 seconds at the moment. So these two, Kai and Matt, are doing a great job so far. How long can they keep it up?
We shall find out. I agree with you completely. They're doing a fantastic job out there. Still Lolinova not making a remarkable impression. Only a couple of attempts in the background. Kareem 17 looking for a move into Ferragura, throwed the shape of the car to the outside line. Tried to throw the line of that guy Vince off kilter, but no. The RB man completely on-piste at the moment as we are in lap number 25. Kareem likes to send into Bico de Pato though. Is he feeling it this time? Nowhere near close enough on this occasion. Of course, we've still got Safso and Meraki in this train as well. They're just waiting for any one of the drivers ahead to slip up as well. Lolly has made much more of an impression on this lap though. About half a second gain to the two cars ahead, and that is critical for his race and everybody else's race as well, because Ben can just control his pace at the moment, as long as he knows that the new tyre runners aren't able to get past as Dark Viper and Chesnoy's battle continues to rage on behind. Meraki maybe even could be making a move. Yes, to the inside goes the Haas driver, but has to concede. Maybe might have got Safso out of that critical DRS range. I think he was still in the detection point, but no slipstream being picked up. Is there an opportunity into the Sina del Lago? The answer is absolutely not. Meraki not able to make the move at the moment, but Safso with the aggressive strategy, perhaps just beginning to lose touch, and Meraki making the most of it.
Yeah, Safso, we saw him really aggressive, looking to try and make moves very early in the early stages of this race. But yeah, it was going to get to a point where the tyres might start to fall away. The delta is sort of equalised to those medium tyres, the hard tyres of everyone around him. Definitely went the more aggressive, had to go more aggressive. He started 19th place, so he's now up to 7th place and doing a fine job on that as well. Kareem, we ride on board with him in towards Jun Sao. We get back onto the power as we climb our way through towards that almost triple left-hander, 13, 14 and 15 through the Sabida the boxes, and make our way onwards towards the start-finish line to start another lap worth of racing. Lap 27 here in the Creator Series at the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's Tim McMahon who leads the way by about 4 seconds ahead of Formula Kai, and Matt 212 rounds off the podium. Lolinova though, I said before that the gap had sort of stabilised at that 1.9, 1.8 seconds, but Lolinova is just about teetering on DRS range from Matt 212, and Matt himself saying, who'd have thought I'd be telling Kai to be the one to hurry up? But Formula Kai and Matt 212, they've thrown that potential alliance straight out the window. Matt 212 round the outside at turns 6 and 7 and makes his way up in towards second place. Now when he's got that position, what he has done is allowed Lolinova to get that DRS within a second. They'll look to try and scamper away and scamper up the road as much as possible. They're on older tyres, Matt and Kai, than Lolinova, and now Lolinova has the DRS, which will not only help him defend but to help him try and close up further to Kai and Matt.
I must say, it was a really fabulous move into Ferradura. A complete commitment from Matt 212, who after that sprint podium has just got a little bit of a swagger about him. Get on with it, Formula Kai. What are you doing? We've got pace to burn. Speaking of which, it's about time they did, because while Alex Gillen peels to the inside, I imagine, to get some cooling air over his engine and to make sure he can actually attack in a straight line. This just got even more interesting in the dynamic. Matt 2-on-2 now in that faster McLaren, able to stretch his legs. Formula Kai now will try and protect himself in the DRS as much as possible. Tiamat Marduk, by the way, the fuel situation, I'm sure you're wanting to know at the moment. Brazil, not the most aggressive track in terms of fuel burn, but he's got 0.92 under at the moment. That's his situation, so saving a decent amount as we head very quickly towards the fulcrum point of this race.
Yeah, of course, he would have been helped out massively with that safety car as well. So the safety car is pretty much half the lift-off and coast he needs towards the end of the race. So he'll absolutely be happy with that one. With a 5-second lead, he'll be even happier with that gap between himself and Matt 212. Formula Kai then has got Lolinoba in his mirrors. The Haas that have been doing so well at keeping at arm's length. Well, that arm has really much receded. It's down by their side now, as Lolinoba closes and closes in the slipstream now. Formula Kai does have DRS from Matt 212, but Lolinoba here is already trying to fill the mirrors and reminding Kai that he's there on the inside. But look as well from that guy Vince in the Racing Bulls right behind. He's looking to try and pick up the pieces if anything should go awry. Making our way now on towards the Reta Aposta. That guy Vince in the slipstream, but no way through there. This Formula Kai now getting down the inside of Matt 212. That wasn't in Matt's script, but Formula Kai makes his way back up into second place with a move down at the Descida del Lago.
You're not fighting it a huge amount either, was Matt 212. It's interesting just hopping around, seeing the battery situation between all the drivers. Kai, of course, in the defence, saved loads of battery up, had about 20-25% more than what Lolinoba had. So the Italian stallion not being very efficient with his electrical energy usage. The question is, what does Matt 212 have to offer as well? When he was in the DRS of Formula Kai, he was saving battery pretty well. So we'll see what kind of defence he can put up as well. Lap 29 of this race, we're highlighting a man who is on a recovery mission. Done decently well so far as Mr. Alex Gillen, but currently P12 sat stuck for the time being behind the Red Bull of Tukey.
Yeah, has sort of found his spot at the moment in the queue and can't really do anything about it at this moment in time. But that goes for a lot of drivers at the moment who are right in amongst this queue, down in towards the Senna S for the 30th time of asking through the Curva del Sol. And he's then towards the Reta Aposta as Vince over the radio saying it's getting a bit grey. Well, we're sort of thinking rain in about 10 minutes time. Kareem, meanwhile, has got the move done on Vince then. So Kareem now up into 5th place, and we can see there's side-by-side battling. There's Safso up the inside there of Vince as we make our way through the Ferradura. And Vince has got a battling on his hands, but he's lost out to Safso in that meantime. Safso using that wily experience, that magic underneath him of a PS1 Hagrid, and moving himself up into 6th place.
Ever since he escaped from Azkaban, he has been absolutely unleashed as Safso. Has always managed to just capitalise on people losing momentum in battling. Using that experience, he poises the car in the perfect place every single time when there's battling ahead. So brilliant stuff from our very own PS1 Hagrid. Lolinoba did get the move done on Matt 212 as well. So his next target is Formula Kai. 6.3 seconds to gap, a yellow flag though towards Jung Sao. And I don't think it was Concept. It might well have been Alex Can't Drive, who's had a bit of a moment. Concept 7 eroding that gap at a rapid rate of knots as we head through the Curva del Sol for the 31st time. Tiamat Marduk controlling the pace out in front. Meraki, though, looks to be a man on a move. DRS wide open. And despite all the flappage in the world, he can't make a move on that guy Vince. Not yet, at least. Who is just the V-carb up ahead. He's trying to just find some mental fortitude. Round the outside, though. Kareem 17 tries to go. He's looked at it a few times. Not quite going to happen on this occasion. To the inside, though. Tyre smoke billowing from the front as he just sends it on the McLaren. They're side by side now through the left-hander, and it's the send he has been just trademarking this race into Vico de Pato. Much more academic for Kareem 17, who's looking to try and complete his mission to make it 2 wins from 2 tonight.
moves himself up into 4th place and in a good position there. With Matt now down to 5th place and has to look over his shoulder now. He's got Safso, the wily fox, right behind him now as we make our way onwards towards that start-finish line for the 32nd now time of Arsenal down towards the first corner. Tim Maddox still leads the way then. Formula Kai in 2nd place. And then it's really all behind Formula Kai is where all the battling is as Safso gets a bit wild on the rear end there. That guy Vince might have an opportunity. I think it's I don't think he's close enough to take advantage of that one. But Safso right has the aiming reticles all over Matt 212. Matt right now is on 31 lap old hard tyres, and there is Safso once again looking for a move up the inside, and Matt 212 tries to hang it around the outside. He runs a little bit too deep, runs out of adhesion, and Safso then through in towards the 8th and 9th corner tries to get that momentum on his side. He gets the power down out of turn 9 and moves himself now up into 5th place. And I think Matt is just really struggling with the adhesion here now on those hard tyres. He's begging for the rain to fall soon.
Great move from Safso once again, just throw the nose up the inside. And well, we say track position proves pivotal at the moment, sitting in P5. Did he get the DRS? He was very, very close to being out of that conversation, just about. Gets the benefit of the rear wing flap down the main straight. Matt 212 just hollering over to the outside rather, just to let him know he's still there. Big lock-up from Safso. Lock-ups are plenty into turn number 1, but it's imperative that they get the track position, particularly with rain not that far away now. Towards the Sena do Lago we go. DRS for Matt 212, no DRS for Safso, so shows it to the outside, goes to the inside. Matt 212 retaliates brilliantly, but Safso going for a sensational switchback. It was the inside of Ferradura last time. He goes to the outside of it this time. No way he's going to do it there, not the line of least resistance, but sends it down the inside of the right-hander anyway. Matt 212 shuts that door off completely, but Safso's charge might be up in more ways than one. He is completely out of electrical energy.
Yeah, TK giving us the report there that Safso is just completely out of battery. That's why he struggled there. But Safso will be able to regenerate, and we also have DRS on Matt as well as we head away on board then with Vince. He's chasing down Safso through in towards Sau and now through towards that triple left-hander of 13, 14 and 15. We'll see if the Ferrari has DRS, and Safso does, but Vince is all over the back of him here. He'll look to the right-hand side of the track, and with a little bit of DRS and a little bit of a tow from Matt 212 up ahead, Vince finds himself now moving up into 6th place, with Safso down in 7th place and Meraki now in 8th place. We watch on with Meraki, who now will try and use that to full effect. Safso clearly struggling here. Now Meraki trying to go down the inside as we head away towards the Sena do Lago. Through on the inside, they still run side by side, but the Haas of Meraki does make its way through into 7th.
There's the outside curve for you. Safso, it could get even worse in his quest just to try and get up to the top of the tree. No battery to play with. That just demonstrates the importance of having a little bit of awareness of your electrical output as Razin Chai looks to try and go round the outside. Safso shuts that door off though. Another opportunity opens up into Bigo de Pato. Safso defending every single inside line as much as he can. It's a furious fight being put up by the Ferrari man, but it's only a matter of time surely before the resistance is broken. Razin Chai has got it all to burn now down this main straight. Kareem 17 quite close to lolling over, not quite in position to make a move. Razin though, seeing the mental fortitude of Safso crumbling over the previous couple of laps, might have an opportunity. Into the center S's we go. Takes the narrow line. Down the inside, a little bit of a contact. Carbon fiber confetti erupts. But Razin Chai, providing he was behind at the DRS detection point, and he was indeed, nevertheless it wouldn't have mattered. Gets it off the car ahead, and is that 2 for the price of 1, I hear? You bet it is. 2 green machines. Rings round the Scarlet Machine, and Skyzy could even get involved, and he does. Safso pulls off the track. Issues occurring for the Ferrari faithful.
Issues indeed, yeah, pulling off to that right-hand side of the track and all the way now down into P13. Meanwhile, then Lolly Nova still on the back of Kai. He's got Kareem all over the back of him right now as we make our way through in towards the final couple of corners, heading our way towards Junsao. You don't normally see a move here. That's when I normally get egg on my face when someone does make the move, but no way through for Kareem there. And now Lolinova looking over his shoulder, looking in the mirrors here to see where Kareem will be as they open DRS on the run down towards the first corner. We are about halfway through this race so far. It has been absolutely brilliant to watch. Through and towards the Center S we go for the 36th time, worth of asking, and then through and towards the Curva del Sol. Lolinova still in third place. Formula Kai doing a great job so far of hanging on to those tyres. 35 lap old hard tyres. He started the race on those tyres. He stayed out under the safety car and has been rewarded so far with second place out on track. But again, just like with Matt down in fifth place at the moment, it would be a case of they're both hoping the rain will arrive sooner rather than later, and with TK in the pit lane saying we're expecting it roughly soon, within the next couple of laps, I think their begs to the weather gods might just be answered shortly.
Absolutely, an excellent effort from everybody so far. No less Formula Kai and Matt 212, still on those older tyres and still holding on to this particular four-car squabble for what is P2 in this race. Kai doing just enough, saving his battery extremely intelligently. Lolinova with no response. Kareem as close as he tries to get. Lolly has plenty of straight line speed to boot, so nothing he can do either. It's a bit of a stalemate at the moment as we cross over to lap number 37. Our man in the pit lane saying it's crunch time for the rain, and Lolinova knows it. Shows the nose to the inside. It's now or never in the quest for track position when the rain falls, and it is. There goes Kai though on the curve on the inside, and that will be Lolinova through. Kareem shows the nose to the inside. They run side by side down towards the Sierra del Lago, and the currents are ever in favour of the Mercedes man. 2 and 3 change hands. Formula Kai shuffled down to P4.
That was Formula Kai losing the back end there through the Curva del Sol, and that just cost him 2 positions just like that. Doing so well. It's not over yet though. The rain is starting to fall as TK, Weatherman down in the pit lane. I'm going to rely on him for the lottery numbers. If you've got them, TK, let me know. But meanwhile, Razin and Alex then making their way. They're making light work, making their way through after what was a bit of a disastrous start for them both. 8th and 9th place so far, all of them, and TK says the lottery numbers are all the 6s. Great, there we go. Write it down. Tim Martin's into the pits, by the way, as it looks like the track has pretty much deteriorated over the course of 4 kilometres. Race Leader is in, and pretty much I think the rest of the field are going to follow, but Lolinova leaves the braking too late. 10-second penalty for Lolinova, and he'll have to serve at his next stop. Tim Martin then getting the intermediate tyres on. How much will he be held? He won't be held at all, but Alex Gillen stays out. He's rolled the dice. Maybe he knows something, but we don't. DRS is now disabled. Chesnoid gets a 10-second time penalty, and this is a case of rather he had to stay out because Razin was also pitting in, so he's decided to go the long way around, if you like. Look how much he's sliding though. He's going to lose out big time here.
That was a huge slide. We know the Sauber has pretty rearward weight distribution anyway, but that was absolutely horrible. Look how much he has to slow down. Alex Gillen has been completely caught out by the weather vane, and all of his efforts will be in vain. A yellow flag in Sector 1 meanwhile, as that's a Ferrari really struggling. That's Safso, who I'm not going to ask, has spawned on the outside of turn number 3. Well, there's yellow flags anyway, slowing down just to let his teammate through. And well, he appeared for Inters at the beginning of the last lap, and he might well have cooked with that decision. But interestingly, what we are also being told at this critical phase of the race is Tiamat Marduk is just chomping and chomping 10 after 10 on Alex Gillen, who will peel into the pits with no doubt tail hanging between his legs in a metaphorical sense. We hear the race is going to end in dry conditions.
Well, now that should really roll up the dice, shouldn't it? There is Alex Gillen, who makes his way into the pits. And there is Kareem and Lolinova battling away for position. Of course, DRS now disabled. And there is Lolinova just hanging on to that position. Kareem up the inside then at the first part of the Center S. Through the second part, Kareem looks the way round the outside, dances his way through now into second place through the Curva del Sol. And Kareem now up into second place with 8.3 seconds up the road between himself and Tiamat Marduk. The question now remains is, can Kareem really close that down? He'll still have Lolinoba on the back of him for the next couple of corners, for the next couple of laps for sure. And we'll see what he can do through these next few corners. But Formula Kai and Matt 212, obviously they started on those medium tyres. Formula Kai, I think, started roughly in 4th place, but it's Matt who started in 15th. Staying out on those hard tyres under the safety car, rolled the dice, and they've come up double sixes.
Couldn't agree more with you. Here's Kareem 17, just trying to eat into the gap of Tiamat Marduk. Good news for Kareem 17 is he has plenty of fuel in the car. No need to try and fuel save. Tiamat Marduk still has to do that. The good news for him, though, is that with these slower cornering speeds, with these elongated braking zones, he will have an easier time of saving that fuel. So it's not all bad news for the RB in 1st place. We highlight Rasin Chai, though. Here we go, retirement from the Grand Prix last week. Was, oh crikey, is 7,605th DNF on this game. Now that is, well, first, I don't know whether to call it commendable or catastrophic. Either way, impressive work, my friend.
Nice job, everyone who's in an open lobby with him. That's all I'll say about that one. Razin, though, 6th place at the moment. 2.6 seconds back from Matt 212 with Meraki in 7th place. This is a huge race for Tiamat Marduk. If everything finishes up like this, I mean, we could be looking at a new championship leader heading into the last couple of rounds of the season, which is absolutely insane, as we'll see I think the pit lane's calling on Sapso to give us a wave. Go on, Sapso, give us a wave. There you go. That'll go. we brought his graphic up just very, very briefly there, but there we go. There is Safso, who is struggling out there. There we go. There you go. Give us a wave, Safso. Go on. We know you want to. Go on. We're not leave. There you go. There you go. Come on, Safso. You can still do this. There's still the win on the board here. 31 to go here in Brazil.
Oh, we appreciate you, Safso. Welcome in. I'm sorry it's not gone your way, but we appreciate you very much indeed. Still keeping within a second of Alex Can't Drive, by the way. Just saying. There's plenty of things to go right in your favour here. What's also going right in the favour of one driver, though, Kareem 17, ladies and gentlemen. He's just gained about 0.6 of a second to Tiamat Marduk on that last lap. Yes, he doesn't have the saving to do. Yes, he can just put the power all the way flat to the floor. But he is absolutely flying out there in the wet conditions. He's just chomped another 0.5 second out of our race leader. Could it be the dub doing the double? The dream is on for the Mercedes Maestro as Chappers and that guy Vince get to work.
Indeed, they do. And Kareem, yeah, he's cutting down on that gap. 7.3 seconds the gap is now as Kareem locks in, focuses now. These are two drivers, Tiamat Marduk and Kareem, who are looking both for their first win of the season in a race. Of course, Kareem, we saw him take the sprint victory earlier on today. This will be for a Grand Prix victory, and both of them could be making their way to the top step of the podium. It would be their first time for either of them this season. Lolinoba, meanwhile, one last time out in Mexico, of course, got the Inters pole and the fastest lap of the race, pretty much. Didn't set a foot wrong, but you see Kareem here absolutely chucking the car in, and it is just loving it out there. Kareem's loving these conditions. He's built up that gap to Lollinova and looks to be set on the charge. But if it's a dry end to this race, I do wonder when will that happen? When will that all play out? Alex Gillen, who obviously had to pit in a lap later to avoid the double stack and to avoid absolutely getting shafted in the pit lane in terms of being held, has now managed to make his way back up into 10th place with Skyzy and Tukey right on his tail. Maybe Skyzy fancies another move. Gillen goes defensive towards the inside line. Skyzy will have to go the long way round, but here's Tukey as well, chucking his nose up in the mix there. But Gillen manages to hold on to that position, holds on to P10. Skyzy, meanwhile, and Tukey still battling away, and Gillen says good luck. Good luck battling with you for P11. Skyzy and Tukey still bit between their teeth. Tukey's managed to get up into P11. Skyzy in P12.
Good battling there. For a moment it was 3 wide into turn number 1 and I held my breath quite a lot. But, interesting, Lolinoba, he might have got the 10-second time penalty, which is playing on his mind a little bit. But Formula Kai and Matt 212 showing some great pace in the wet conditions as well. Speaking of great pace, Kareem 17, a gap that was 7.5 seconds last lap, is now 5.8 seconds. He's absolutely flying. He's gained 0.5 second in the first sector alone. He then gained almost 7/10 in the second sector alone. He is relishing the rainy weather. He loves the wet weather conditions. But if he's gonna make hay before the sun shines, he's doing doing a great job at it so far. I also, by the way, just to highlight, that was the most disgusting flick I've ever seen on this game into Bico de Pato. Forget about brakes. Essentially, the entire steering wheel was doing the work.
Well, Kareem is just loving this. He's absolutely relishing these conditions here. 5.5 seconds from himself and Tiamat Marduk then. Looking at their last lap times there, Kareem was 1.3 seconds quicker than Tiamat Marduk. Not only that, but he's the only driver on that last lap who set a 1 minute 19. Everyone else is sort of in the mid 1 minute 20s, high 1 minute 20s. So Kareem is absolutely flying out there. He's relishing this.
Could not agree more with you. I'm just trying to get an idea of what Ben's fuel situation is, and he's not saving. He's hardly saving any fuel at the moment. So this is on legitimate pace at the moment. I could understand it if maybe he was doing some fuel saving and trying to just make sure he wasn't caught out by the end of this race. But this is literally balls to the wall at every single opportunity. Kareem taking less of a gap out on this lap. It's 3 tenths and 2 tenths in the first 2 sectors respectively, but he is well on his way. Speaking of which, the ebbing and flowing between Formula Kai and Matt 212 and this man we're highlighting right now, Chappers. This is all very interesting stuff. It's this critical exit here, out of Jung Sao. Meraki struggling to get the power down. Chappers having the car supremely planted underneath him. Hasn't got the DRS assistance though, and can't quite make manoeuvres at the moment.
Not at the moment, of course, but everything to play for. Lap 44 of this race. I wonder if we've got our pit lane maestro in TK down there who wants to come and have a chat with us about... I hope you're standing somewhere virtually dry, TK. That's all I'll say on that matter.
Oh, hello. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting that. I was stuck out right in the middle of the pit lane, and I haven't brought my umbrella. But I'll tell you what, someone that would be good to bring in for a half-race recap is the wonderful Tom Wilkinson, if he's around in the next couple of moments. But it's been a really interesting one from behind the scenes. There's been troubles and trials and tribulations for all of our drivers, and I have found just down here in the pit garage is Mr. Tom Wilkinson, so I'll bring him in as well to join in on this conversation.
Hello, hello. TK, I'm disappointed that you didn't let me come under that umbrella with you, because the conditions are not very nice, are they? But to be fair, Brazil bustling once again with the action, isn't it? Chaotic start, and we have to look at the driver out front, don't we? On a 23-race winless drought stretching back to April the 9th, 213 days ago. Tiamat Marduk very much in the groove, assisted by the Anarchy that we saw striking down the Sauber garage, colliding in the pit lane, hobbling themselves with twin 10-second penalties. And then that scramble for second place that unfortunately ended the day early for Fabio as he went pirouetting, trailing down the barriers. But we do have a race in our hands, don't we, gentlemen? The two out in front, light years quicker than everybody else. Green 17 in a league of his own at the moment. The sprint race win, he found the formula again. The first time was so nice, he might have to do it for a second time. 3.3 seconds, the gap between the leading duo. And so many storylines at play, aren't there? Is it Ben getting back onto the winner's step for the first time in over 200 days? Or is it Kareem 17 winning twice in one night and reasserting himself as one of the top dogs in the Creator Series? Very, very, very interesting.
I've just realised we weren't watching on board with Ben there for a considerable amount of time. I was trying to figure out who we watched, because I was watching Ben's camera and then watching the car input and then watching back to the camera. It just wasn't linking up, and then it only just dawned on me that Ben has in fact not been driving a Sauber for 45 laps of this Grand Prix. It was in fact, I'm assuming Gillen or Raz tried. We are now back on board with Tim and Marduk, and I can tell you what, we are back, I believe, with our beautiful commentators in Carl and of course the absolutely wonderful Mr. Kieran McKinley.
Thank you very much. Tom Squared, always a bit of drama, always a bit of ruckus whenever they're around, but it's good ruckus, we love it. Kareem, meanwhile, has got the gap now down to less than 3 seconds between himself and Tiamat Marduk. And what would be the better storyline? Well, we're about to find out, give or take a few laps here, as Ricky and Chesnoid Gaming are battling away for 13th place in this race. Ricky gets himself ahead. Concept trying to find a move as well, but there's Chesnoid launching it down the inside in towards the first part of the center S. Through the second part, he's sort of on the outside here, and then he gets the inside line through in towards the Curva del Sol. But there is Concept, who's managing now to pick up the toe from Ricky and moves himself now up into 14th place. So this scrap for sort of those last point paying positions is really heating up between Ricky, Concept and Chesnoid.
Got to deal with everything today. Weather, chaos, controversies, a schizophrenic live feed. Well, at least it isn't the driver's girlfriends onto the grass, though. Goes Chesnoid Gaming, does really well to pick the car back up from underneath him. But just another chink in the armour of confidence that you just cannot be wanting to deal with. Team at Marduk and Kareem's gap, 2.6 seconds now, Concept 7. Looking to Ricky 03. See if he can continue scything his way through. Ricky, though, in turn, catching up to M Sky Z in the Alpine. Alex Gillen has managed to bolt away from this group behind. He let them battle and do their particular squabbles. He's now on the back of Tukey in his particular mission. And now, finally, apparently, DRS is disabled, which is rather interesting. The FIA with the awareness of a vampire bat.
Now, to be honest, I think DRS was already disabled. I'll be honest with you. But hey-ho, I think that just means the track condition has changed, I guess. Formula Kai, meanwhile, is dropping down to 4th place here. And this is why, because Lolinova and Formula Kai are running side by side. There's contact between them. Formula Kai has to go to the outside of the circuit. Matt212 had pretty much front row viewing for that. He now sees them to move up the inside, takes full advantage of that, and gets the move done then. Through now they go in towards the turn 8, turn 9 section now. And we make our way now upwards towards the turn 10. Kareem and Lolinova will be loving that, especially Lolinova. He'll want that 2-1-2 and Formula Kai to be battling away. It gives himself a little bit of breathing room in this mid phase of the race. But Formula Kai now has to worry about Razin Chai, 4th place in the championship, and really closing in on the 2 ahead of him. Also closing in on the race leader, Kareem 17. 1.9 seconds now between himself and Tiamat Marduk. And you see Kareem's driving style. He's absolutely loving it out here. Just kicking out the rears. Why not? It seems to be working for him. Again, looking at the last lap times here. Tiamat Marduk, 1 minute 20.2. Kareem, 1:19.5. He's still the only driver lapping anywhere near in the 1:19s. All other drivers are really lapping in the mid 1 minute 20s.
Yeah, just absolutely ridiculous pace from Kareem, who is setting the timing sheets ablaze with this pace. Will be within 1 second by the end of the lap if he continues going at this rate. But of course now he has to deal with the other element, the dirty air side of things, as he gets closer and closer to Tiamat Marduk. 2 old adversaries, of course, battle furiously for the title in season number 9, went all the way down to the final round in Vegas, where this man we're highlighting here came out on top. This season, been a bit of a slug out for the man currently in the Mercedes car, but he has got a real outstanding opportunity. And yes, he was briefly within a second out of Jung Sao. That confirms it. Kareem 17 firmly sitting in the slipstream.
Really is, and we're just checking in with our pit lane there, our very own TKWS, who predicts that lap rain will stop on lap 56 to 58. So there you go. Kareem now really closing in onto the back of Tiamat Marduk now. As you said, Carl, less than a second between them. And we'll make our way onwards then towards the Reto Acosta, down towards the Casino del Lago, the 4th and 5th corners of this circuit. Catching is one thing here. You see the 2 different driving styles really coming into play here. Kareem now right in the back of Tiamat Marduk as they make their way now on towards Ferradura for the 49th time in this race. They've built a very healthy lead over Lolinova, Matt212 and Formula Kai. Razin Chai also within that battle for the last place on the podium at this time. Then you've got Meraki and Chappers in a bit of a battle for 7th place. You've got Tukey, who'll be trying to make inroads to try and catch Dakmo Vince. That's a battle for 9th place. Ricky and Concept still sharing the same bit of track between each other. That's a battle for 12th place. Keep an eye on Alex Gillen as he'll also try to close in on Tukey where he can. SkyZ, Chesnoid and what will be, should be, Dark Viper very soon. Should be battling away for the last couple of points in this race. Our focus though is on the lead of this race. Kareem then making his way through that triple left-hander and onwards then towards the start-finish line, onwards towards the first corner. The SNRS once again, but he backs out of this one, tucks back into that little bit of toe from Tiamat Marduk up ahead. 22 laps remaining of this Brazilian Grand Prix here in the Creator Series, and Tiamat Marduk does lead ahead of Kareem. But look at Kareem's run now through in towards the Costa del Sol. Is this the chance he's been waiting for? I think he'll back out of it on this occasion, but take nothing away. as he gets a good run. If he gets a good run through Desida de Largo, he's got a great chance here of trying to get Ben up and towards the next couple of corners through turn 6. He looks for the move up the inside. Can he try and find it there? He gets side by side with Tiamat Marduk for the lead of the race here. Down in towards turn 8 they will go then. Through Veradura they were side by side. They are still side by side now. Heading away through in towards turn 9. Kareem will try a bit of the up and under here to try and get a bit of traction here. Switch to the inside in towards turn 10. Tiamat Marduk able to hold onto that position for now, but as they make their way now powering through in towards the likes of turn 11 and down towards Jun Sao, this is a great scrap between them.
Blockbuster entertainment from Kareem 70 and Tiamat Marduk. You can tell also, I've been watching their onboards just to get an idea of what kind of conundrums they have to deal with. Kareem clearly has the car underneath him. That's no surprise. He's well within the slipstream. He's closer than he was last lap. And will it now be the move to take the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix? He shows the nose. He's bold and brave on the brakes. Still, Ben Daly holds it as hard as he can, and he does hold on for dear life to the race lead. Remarkable defence from Tiamat Marduk, blistering pace from Kareem 17, and at the moment it's all equalised here at Interlagos.
I tell you what, Ben does know how to defend. He makes it very, very difficult to try and pass. He will be driving the widest racing ball that Interlagos has ever seen. As we make our way now through Ferradura, we ride on board now with our race leader in Tiamat Marduk, as to try and keep Kareem behind them. These are two drivers here who so far this season have not had a feature race win, have not had a Grand Prix win so far this season. Kareem has broken his duck with a sprint win so far this weekend, but who can break their duck for Grand Prix victories? Will it be either of these two? As we have 20 laps to go, 21 and a bit if you're picky. Tiamat Marduk leads the way now, down in towards Jun Sao for the 51st time. Back on the power we go then. And Kareem, who was taking some really good lines, he was really comfortable. He's going to find it tricky to try and pass Ben Daly, but he'll be relishing the challenge, and Ben will be relishing the challenge of holding on to this lead as much as possible. Lap 52 here in Brazil, as Tiamat Marduk still leads from Kareem in second place. Lolinova in third place. Matt 212 still on the back of Lolinova in that battle for third place. Only less than half a second between the two of them as they make their way now on towards the back straight, then on towards the Reta Aposta and down towards the Desida de Largo. You see Tiamat Marduk makes one move to defend and one move back to the racing line. Well within the limits there, but loses that back end slightly, slides his way through. That is an opening for Kareem that he doesn't need two invitations to, but maybe he hasn't yet RSVP'd to it.
Maybe not quite on this occasion. Ben did get a warning on that previous lap, though. He's one away from getting a track limits penalty, so just has to play it a little bit more careful. I did that in Imola in Season X, and trust me, it completely changed the way I drove for the rest of the race. You're almost going at 90%. It's a really, really weird sensation, but you have to do it. You don't dare lose that amount of time when there is such success at stake. Like you say, Kieran, both of these two looking for success. Down the inside of Jung Saldo goes Kareem 17. Looks to apply the traction as much as possible. And for now, it is in his court. The ball is firmly hustled and bustled in his court. But Tiamat Marduk's just going to burn the battery instead. They remain side by side towards turn number 1. Brilliant battling from these two. When will it end? Kareem 17, super late on the brakes. Signed, sealed, delivered. It could be 2 from 2. He's well on his way now.
I'll tell you something, I think the rain has stopped. So this should be a pretty interesting thing. I'll have TK with the umbrella down there to confirm, but that looks to me the rain has stopped here. So how long will it take for the track to dry out? Kareem, though, does lead the way ahead of Tiamat Marduk. He's been sizing that move up for the past 2 or 3 laps. Tiamat Marduk did a good job in defending, but Kareem manages to find that way through. And it was a move that had to be set up all the way at Jun Sao and wasn't completed until we got to the Costa del Curva del Sol. So that was a really had to be calculated in that move. But Kareem takes over the lead. Ben now in second place. Still trying to keep on the back. I'm sure now he'll try and see how Kareem was so much quicker on those laps. Keep an eye on those lap times. The lap times are coming down. I mean, even if Kareem and Tim McMurdoch were still battling away for position, Kareem's last lap, 1 minute 18.9. So the track is improving out there, lap after lap. And it's just a case now, if there is no more rain, when is the crossover? Who's going to roll the dice? Perhaps Tim McMurdoch here might actually relish being the second car in the queue. In essence, he can do the opposite of Kareem when it comes to putting on drive tyres. It looks like Alex can't drive. He's into the pits. I think Alex what probably puts on as he makes his way out of the pit lane. He's put on soft tyres, and we see now drivers making their way into the pits, and it's another 10-second penalty for Lolinova.
That makes the job much easier for Matt 212 then, because not only is Lolinova going to have to serve his 10-second time penalty, mediums for Matt 212, it's the alliteration station he's visiting in the McLaren car. But Lolinova, not only does he have to serve that 10 seconds, he's waiting there for what feels like an eternity in the pit lane. Razin, therefore, is going to get him as well. But he has another 10-second time penalty on top of that as well. I'm not surprised that Kareem and co didn't box on the end of that previous lap. They're 14 seconds ahead of Formula Kai. They have basically got all the time in the world to make that all-important decision. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2 that looks to be Alex can't drive. Just getting out of the way of a bunch of cars and sensibly doing so here on lap 54. The assessment on this particular lap, the time's last lap, but low 1 minute 18 for Kareem 70, low 18 for Alex Gillen. Everybody else in the high 18s as Skyzy's disqualified. Skyzy is disqualified for blocking the pit lane. And that spells a premature end to his race. That'll be it. The Alpine Ace is going to take no further part in this. Both our race leaders, though, peel into pit row.
Here we go then. Who's going to be able to get the tyres on? It's hard tyres for Kareem. What does Tim McMurdoch put on? He'll come out behind. It also looks like hard tyres for Tim McMurdoch as well, so they'll make their way to the end of the pit lane, still battling away with each other. But look at Kareem lighting up the rears on pit lane exit here. It's so damp on the pit exit, of course, but look at this. It's a good way to get heat into the tyres. It's a very easy way to get everyone on the edge of their seats there. Very narrow pit lane exit, but Kareem does re-emerge ahead again, ahead of Tim McMurdoch. Then there's Tukey, who stayed out for another lap on a set of the intermediate tyres. So too has that guy Vince, so too has Alex Gillen. But once again, because Razin was ahead of him, he didn't want to pit on the same lap as him. So once again, it's a case of Alex has to stay out for another lap, whether he likes it or not. There's Meraki, who's rejoining into the race and ahead of Matt 212. That was crucial for Meraki. He's needed to get some points on the board, some much needed points on the board, and getting ahead of Matt 212 was absolutely the best thing he needed.
Ben and Kareem are sliding, absolutely sliding loads as they make their way around. You can see Tukey has just chomped into that gap. The track's still too greasy for the dry tyres. Not that it makes an immense amount of difference to Kareem and Tim McMurdoch at the moment, but this is an absolutely crucial point of the race. Meraki got the overcut, staying out on the inters. Tukey and co are going to get even more of an overcut. Child's play as the Red Bull makes his way through into P2 and could even lead this race. That guy Vince peels into the pit lane, but there's a suggestion that even then it's still too early. Tukey was only 0.3 of a second quicker than Kareem in the last sector, but 0.2 quicker through the middle sector. This is a crucial stanza of the race.
It really is, and obviously the obvious tell that the crossover has happened is when DRS gets put back online. As far as I see, it hasn't been put back online yet, so Tukey here has the upper hand. Now, I do wonder, when the changeover happens, when that crossover happens, how badly will those intermediate tyres react? So far, though, so good for Tukey and Alex Gillen. Gillen stays out for another lap, mainly because, I think you're right, they feel that the Inters are still the tyres to be on, still the tyres in play here.
Bit of a charge up in terms of overall pace. I think Kareem's managed to get some temperature firmly locked into his tyres. He's just extending the gap a tiny bit. Loses a 1/10.5 on the exit of Bico de Pato, though. Still a little bit greasy, but there's the confirmation. No wonder he was starting to love life on the dry tyres. DRS now enabled. Clearly, it's deemed the conditions are good enough. So Tukey and Alex Gillen actually have played an absolute blinder in terms of their intermediate tyres right at the end of the lap. Now they peel into the pit lane, DRS just being re-enabled, and who knows where they'll emerge. Meraki got out ahead of Matt 212. Could Tukey and Alex Gillen take the pair of them here?
Could do indeed. We'll keep an eye on how it all plays out then. Alex Gillen and Tukey into the pits to put on some dry tyres then. Should take them now to the end of the race, and that's medium tyres for Alex Gillen. He's going more aggressive in this latter stage of the race. Hey, it could work out. You know, it's a drying track. You need the grip to begin with. Lots of drivers on the hard tyres to try and get themselves to the end, but Alex has decided he's going for the medium tyres and will rejoin side by side with Chappers here. Chappers has some DRS, so Alex Gillen, well, still rejoins ahead of him in 7th place, ahead of Razin Chai. And through all their tirades and fights among this race, that's a huge move for Alex Gillen here. He's got plenty of time to make up, but quite a few laps to do it in. 7th place so far for Gillen.
Formula car with a 3-second time penalty. That's our first track limit specific time penalty in a long, long time. So everybody behaving very well indeed. It might even have been a triple warning for Kai, because we're seeing on our telemetry, he's got a total of 5 warnings. So an instant penalty, but there's Alex Can't Drive also getting a 3-second time penalty. Just to make me eat my words even more here. Skyzy obviously leaves the session, I don't blame him. Meanwhile, I think TK has some news on Skyzy's retirement. TK, what can you tell us?
Oh, I wasn't expecting you to throw it over there. Once again, unprepared down in the pit lane. But unfortunately for Skyzy, it was a bit of an accident as he came out of pit road. He was on the soft tyres, got them fired up, or at least thought he had, and ended up spinning around in pit exit. Faced about 90 degrees compared to where he was meant to be pointing. And unfortunately, as he was blocking the pit lane, he did get DSQ. But Kai, you got a safety car.
Oh, two secs, TK. We've got to cut back here. It's Alex Can't Drive who's facing the wrong way, and it is a safety car that has been deployed here. Well, Alex Can't Drive makes his way back into the pit lane. Then Kareem, who'd built up a really good lead there, is going to have it wiped out here. Now, here's the thing. Who is currently on a set of intermediate tyres? I was just going to see who was. I think everyone had just pitted in to put on a fresh set of boots there. One in particular, just having a look back, I think 9th place. So that guy Vince had only pitted in a couple of laps ago to put on those fresh set of tyres. Hey, this could be a chance for drivers to go back onto a set of medium tyres. I mean, Kareem and Tim McMurdoch maybe could, but they would sacrifice track position. Kareem, no, he's staying out then. And Tim McMurdoch says we never get it the easy way. No, and that's why we love it here in the Creator Series. Tim McMurdoch also stays out. Kind of feels like then no one's going to come in and change tyres unless they've really got nothing to lose and just want to roll the dice.
I'm a bit surprised they didn't try and roll the dice and peel into the pit lane. They had such a gap to Formula Kai behind. But actually, maybe going onto a set of mediums, I know Kareem definitely has another set, I think, of medium tyres. Don't quote me on that, though. He might well have had another set, though, to try and utilise. But if that, I mean, even regardless, I mean, everybody's staying out, like you say. No real impetus to switch off the tyres, which are relatively new. So we will take that. We will absolutely take that. The order remains unchanged then. The only thing, of course, that changes is now that the order is completely compressed up. I will eat my words quickly. As Murray Walker said, I am very much mistaken, as it turns out. The fact Kareem 70 has 2 sets of hards probably means that was him choosing the harder tyre allocation, which means no extra medium tyres for him, and possibly even no extra mediums for Mr. Tiamat Marduk either.
Well, there you go. Problem solved just as quickly as it arose. That's the quality, the professionalism you've got in Car Paranik here. Now, be honest, I love him more in the box. He's a great driver, better than me, but my goodness, can he take a bit of data, take a bit of Murray Walker with his quote as well, and just give you what you need. That is my go. There you go.
One goat recognises another. I appreciate you, mate. 59, lap 59, here we go. I was going to bring up the conversation of intentional safety cars because it is a talking point here in Creator Series. However, to burst the bubble of the rest of the grid, intentional safety cars, once this one peels into the pit lane, they won't be allowed anymore. Of course, 10 laps towards the end of the race. Once it crosses over that 10-lap threshold, no intentional safety cars can be caused. And because we're sat behind Bernd Mailander here at the Brazilian Grand Prix, we can have no more of those. So it is going to be all-out action all the way to the end of the race.
Well, hey-ho. Tia McMurdoch then, I wonder. I mean, he's going to be pretty much screaming. I mean, TK saying there that he had Ben screaming in his ear. I assume about the race, but yeah, he'll be in second place there. Formula Kai has been brought back into this, but has a penalty to serve. at the end of the race then. That's going to bring Meraki back into this. Now, Meraki's had a quiet race, but there he is in 4th place. Our championship leader really needs to use this safety car to full effect. Really close up, really just, well, in a sense, close up the points he might have lost in the early stages of this race. Now he's in 4th place. Now he has got a really good chance of getting some much needed points back into the running. Dark Viper, meanwhile, is currently running inside the points. Currently 15th place for Dark Viper as he makes his way through, just trying to catch up with the safety car at this moment in time. What would be a great start for him. He makes his first race start since the season 8, so it's been a while. And Dark Viper, if he could let us know if you've got the blonde mullet still, it would be greatly appreciated. We need the hard-hitting journalism here at Creator Series. We need it. Let us know. Is the mullet still there? Oh.
Can't beat journalism like it, ladies and gentlemen. You don't get coverage like this on Sky Sports. Lap number 61. It's great to see Dark Viper back, by the way. Burnt Mylander's on the radio. He says, seriously, you need me again? As if he doesn't get paid enough in Creator Series. Well, guess what? You are getting the bag today, so well done you, my friend. Like I say, great to see Dark Viper back on the grid. He was a notorious F2 name, of course, when the series was still a thing here in the EA Creator Series. Back on F1 24, Season 8, the last Formula 2 series. He was a pretty successful name in that particular department, but great to see him back on F1 25, back racing with us in the Creator Series. Meanwhile, we're highlighting the Australian sensation, and a good thing we are as well, because of course, this safety car means one critical thing for his race. He can save all the fuel he needs.
Yes, he can. So he won't have to worry about that anymore. I mean, either that or he could absolutely burn through his fuels. Whatever he likes at this point. It will be a case of Kareem has some sensational electric pace in the wet, and we convert that once again to the dries. We saw that pace in the sprint. The safety car is in. It's a late call, but it's the call that's been made nonetheless. Kareem now will manage the pace then up towards the start-finish line, and we will have 10 laps to decide the winner of the Creator Series Brazilian Grand Prix. It's going to be a tasty one. We could have a new championship leader. We could have all sorts of drama heading into the final couple of laps. Meraki, our championship leader, is in 4th place. He's kept his nose relatively clean, and now he's got a great chance of getting a good and very much needed points bounty towards the end of this season. Here we go then. We're just waiting for Kareem to restart this race. He's weaving left and right. When will he go? I think he'll leave it as late as possible, don't you? He weaves left and right. He's gone for it now. We're back racing underway then. Kareem makes his way now up towards turn 1. But look at Formula Kai riding and trying to get himself side by side with Tim and Martin. There's contact that's been made between them. But Kai can't quite get the move done there. He loses the back end as well. And that was so critical for Tim McMartin not to get caught up in that kind of battling. He's already lost 8/10 to Kareem there. Meanwhile, we see that guy Vince, who's trying to make up some positions. Chandler's now down into 10th place there. And that guy Vince on a set of soft tyres. He went onto those soft tyres right before the safety car actually did get deployed. Watch out for him in the latter stages of this race. He should be a very interesting and very feisty driver to watch in the closing stages. Razin goes up the inside. Sorry, that's Alex Gillen up the inside of Tukey there, and makes his way up through the order. That's 6th place for Alex Gillen. Once again, he's looking for a good points haul here at this moment in time, as that guy Vince right around the outside here, through towards turn 10, and then out of the Bico de Plateau, down in towards the final couple of corners then, as we head away through in towards Jung Sao, and Razin now up the inside of Tukey then, getting the power down, trying to draw side by side, and then ahead is the Sauber, but Tukey manages to keep himself ahead for now. That's Razin Chai still in 9th place at the moment. Kareem sets the fast lap of the race. We're on at 10.9, and the Red Bull, look at the switchback here from Razin. Down the inside he goes. There's contact between the side pod of the Red Bull there, but we head away through the centre S, and they're still side by side through the Costa del Sol, and still they run in on board with Lolinova, who's in 10th place, out on a set of those soft tyres. He needs to make them work. He needs to make some moves, but he can't quite make it there. But he's got front row tickets to this absolute blockbuster fight between Razin Chai and Tukey.
How on earth was there not an absolute plane crash between Razin and Tukey? I saw how late Razin broke into the Sina del Lago. Lolinova goes down the inside. Contact made with Tukey, but on those soft compound tyres, Now the pendulum swings in favour of the Haas car. The inside firmly in his favour for Pico De Pato. Again, Tuki rudely shoulder barges the side pod of the Italian stallion, but there's no stopping the gallop of the Haas car. Ricky again aggressively sends the nose to the inside behind as well. So we're heading into this critical final phase of the race. Tiamat Mod has got a great opportunity out in front, as has this man. Fastest lap, exchanging hands here, and Ben is just going to hold it behind. Into turn number 1. He's been biding his time. He's got a much lighter car on the fuel. And now with DRS available to him as well. Could it be in the dry conditions that he breaks his duck after just over a season?
Look at Meraki, look, putting the pressure on Formula Kai there, trying to find a way through. Our championship leader knows this is so critical. He's got a route back into potential podium and maybe even a potential victory here in Brazil in the Creator Series. Kareem leads though, Tiamat Marduk in second place, Formula Kai in third place. He will have that penalty to serve at the end of the race. Believe it's going to be 10 seconds, so he's going to catapult down the order. A safety car was the last thing Kai needed at that stage, but it's what he's got, and he's having to deal with it here. This is a case of Meraki will want to try and find his way through. Apologies, I've been corrected, it's 3 seconds for Kai, so he won't quite catapult down the order, but for Meraki, he will need to try and get this move done out on track. He wants to get a chance to get his way up onto the try and battle away for the lead though. Kareem leads from Tiamat Marduk and Formula Kai in third place. Lap number 65 has begun.
Kareem 17 trying to hold it down. Meraki thought he had an opportunity to get past Kai. How dearly he would love to do that with the penalty that Kai has. Big dive from Rasinjai. Down the inside at the centre S's, or was it lolling over? Just dancing round the outside on his soft compound tyres that are working extremely well at this phase of the race. Tuki now looking for manoeuvres as he goes to the outside of the Sina del Lago. Rasin shuts the door and makes sure that avenue is completely shut to the Red Bull driver behind. This massive train from 8th place down to Chesnoid at the back of the pecking order. You've then got the battle for the lead. 7 cars in that particular train. Kareem using the mechanical grip of the Mercedes to good effect, but round goes Razin, and it's even ruder proceedings from there. Got 3+3 wide through the left-hander. Ricky just dances round the outside of both Ferrari cars. Argy-bargy from the prancing horses. Another Lean Green machine will get to work. Now to try and retrieve some pedigree back. Round the outside goes Rasinjai. If he can plant the traction down, that will be P12 back in his favour. But he will feel very hard done by after what Tuki possibly could have committed. Through he goes though, or are they? Racing Chi, what a name. Got wing damage from that, says Razin. That is terrible news for one of the championship contenders going into this week. Lap 66 of this race, not long to go. And well, the gloves are most certainly, firmly, well and truly off.
They were always going to be off when there was that late safety car with only about 10 laps to really sort yourselves out. Tuki gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. Meraki then in 4th place right now. As it stands, he'll take that last podium spot. But I know him, he'll want to take it out on track, and of course he'll want to try and battle for the front of the order here. It's not so bad that Kareem is leading the way, it's the fact that they'll have one eye on Tiamat Marduk, who's in 2nd place currently, and with his strong sprint run from Tiamat Marduk, gaining at least 12 to 14 places or so to get himself up the order, and almost on that sprint podium. It's a case now of he's in great form. Meraki will not want to see that gap rise too quickly, too fast here. Lap 67 here at the Brazilian Grand Prix. We ride on board now with Tiamat Marduk. So 2 leaders then on the lead lap, of course, with the hard tyres. And we'll see what they can do from this position. Formula Kai in 3rd place, then Meraki in 4th place as we make our way through in towards the next couple of corners. And off we go then. Tiamat Marduk still trying to chase down at this stage and making our way now through in towards the Ferradura.
Well, statistics, ladies and gentlemen. Both of these people, as race controllers, good morning, race control, welcome back. Well, let's put it this way for statistics' sake. Both of these two have had sprint wins this season, but not a full race win. Not in a decent amount of time. Kareem 17, the last time he won a Creator Series race, I can confirm, was that last race, the Mystery Grand Prix at Vegas last season. Tiamat Marduk, it's now 2 whole seasons he's been waiting for a chance at the top of the rostrum. What an opportunity this is. What scintillating satisfaction it would be. And he's remaining well on the coattails of Kareem 70. Mercedes versus RB. Big lock up for Kareem here, Kieran. It's game on.
Game on indeed then, as we make our way through in towards the Costa del Sol. It's a big lock-up from Kareem in towards the first couple of corners. Now Tiamat Marduk with the DRS goes one way and trying to go round the outside here in towards the 4th corner. There is contact between them as Tiamat Marduk tried a bit of a switch back there. Didn't quite happen the way he wanted it to. It's still Kareem in the lead then with Tiamat Marduk in 2nd place as they head their way now through the Ferradura. Not many laps worth of racing to go now. Lap number 68 of this race. And we don't have many laps worth of racing at all. Kareem just has to hold on what will be a first race victory of the season, at least when it comes to Grand Prix. We already had the sprint race win earlier on today, so if he can make it 2 from 2 this weekend, he'll be absolutely loving it. The thing is though, he's got Tiamat Marduk right on the back of him, a Tiamat Marduk who is well and truly in a fight for the championship towards the closing stages of this season. Then we're about to start lap number 69. 3 laps to go here as we make our way onwards once again towards the first corner. Tiamat Marduk not quite close enough to try and move then down in towards the first couple of corners.
Kareem's got no battery whatsoever here. He could well be caught out. Tiamat Marduk with about 70% battery in comparison. The light blinking on the back of the Mercedes. And is this the opportunity that Tiamat Marduk's been looking for? Round the outside. Space just about left. Between the two of them, it's a drag race now towards Ferradura. The same spot where Kareem managed to wrestle his way through, potentially in the wet. Tiamat Marduk does it in the dry conditions, looking for his first race win. 2 seasons exactly to the dot. And what a position he's put himself in with 3 laps to go. It's been incredible usage of experience, good saving of the battery, but the ball is in his court now.
It ain't over till it's over though, because Kareem now will have some DRS then as we make our way down in towards Junsao for the 69th time. Back on the power we'll go. Tiamat Marduk didn't get a good exit out of that last braking point, and this is Kareem now who'll have the DRS wide open as they make their way across the activation point. Once again, Kareem will go side by side. He'll have to go the long way round in towards the center S here to make the move. He tries to brake later than Tiamat Marduk. They run side by side. Tiamat Marduk tries to take the racing line and can hold on just about in the Costa del Sol. But look who's joined the battle. It's Formula Kai. He fancies this one. Tiamat Marduk puts the squeeze on the Mercedes, but through goes Formula Kai into the lead of this race. Tiamat Marduk so focused on putting Kareem onto the grass that Formula Kai just scythed his way through and into the lead of this race. Yes, he's got a 3-second penalty, but don't take it away from him. What a fantastic opportunistic bit of driving.
Ben was hyper-focused on keeping Kareem behind. It doesn't matter about Formula Kai, of course. He's got the time penalty. But he was just blazing his battery on the straight. I was surprised he didn't do it when he was attacking Kareem that previous time around. Of course, it worked out in his favour into the Ciudad del Lago at the previous lap and the previous opportunity. Now it's Kareem's turn, maybe, to try and activate the afterburners. About similar battery. Kareem has it in his favour, though. He has the ascendancy by about 10%. Tiamat Marduk absolutely fine with Kai leading this race. In fact, he'll welcome that particular eventuality. Kareem can't attack, then he just overcooks it into turn number 1. And is that all the invitation that the Australian sensation needs? DRS wide open. Doesn't have to pass Kai, of course. He can just sit in behind Kieran. He's well on his way to his first race win in Creator Series in 2 whole seasons.
Well, he's got to get there first, of course. Of course, Formula Kai does lead, and now Tiamat Marduk just has to make sure that Kareem can't size him up for an attack here. Into towards the closing stages, in towards turn 8 we go. We go through turn 9, riding on board now with Kareem, who takes a slightly deeper line, try and get the power down, and up towards turn 10. This would be a position to try and go for a launch, but not quite close enough here. And now the corners are running out, the corners are running dry, the kilometers are running down, the odometer is running down as Kareem takes the Creator Series live. He's trying his best to try and close up as much as possible here. Formula Kai will be be giving TMF Marduk a hint of DRS towards the line. Formula Kai takes the checkered flag on the line, but it's TMF Marduk who breaks the duck. The ducks go quacking. More than 200 days without a victory in Creator Series comes to an end. TMF Marduk wins in Brazil.
Absolutely staggering scenes. Look at what it means to him. The feeling of success had eluded him for so long. The top of the tree, he just couldn't quite reach it. But that will do it nicely. I imagine it's... And there it is, he says. I was about to say, we won't see some happy Australian sounds appearing on our screens. But now we do. It's been a long time coming, you feel. And the fact he did it in the V-Carb versus the Mercedes, that will make it ever more satisfying.
Wow, what a race we had. Dry to wet to dry. A late safety car just to spice things up. And in the end, TMF Marduk let Formula Kai go through and use the DRS to very, very good effect. Of course, Formula Kai had that 3-second time penalty. That's why Ben was so happy to have him leading the race. But it did give us that lovely 3-wide moment down in towards the 4th corner. The cleanest driver of the day was that guy Vince, so he'll get the bonus point for that one. But it's TMF Marduk who gets the victory here after 92 minutes worth of racing ahead of Kareem 70 in second place. Meraki does get the podium and keeps a hold and keeps a firm grip on that championship there. Alex Gillen, a late charge from him. He finishes in 4th place with that guy Vince in 5th. Matt 212 in 6th place with Formula Kai dropping to 7th place with his penalty. Ricky 03 in 8th place with Concept in 9th. TK in 10th. Razin Shai in 11th place. Safso in 12th. Dark Viper in 13th place with Chappers in 14th. And Chesnoid Gaming rounding off the points in 15th place. We had Lolinoba in 16th. Alex Can't Drive, the last of the finishers, in 17th, with SkyZ, Infratic, and Scotty Designs, by the way, rounding off our non-finishers.
Well. Thank you, gentlemen. That was exciting, wasn't it? I was genuinely tense watching that at the end. I don't know about you, TK, but that was so exciting, the battle to the end. And then we had Kai as the interloper as well with the 3-second penalty. That is Creator Series at its absolute best. I think you can all agree on that one. Where do we start, TK? I mean, we've got to kick off with the race winner. First time in so long, and he had to work so hard for it.
He really did, and as you said, first win in 211 days for a previous 2-time champion of the Creator Series. So one that is not unusual or unknown to winning races, but I think one that's had a bit of a dry spell recently, and it will feel absolutely fantastic. Not only to get the win, but to get it in such style there. It was a mature drive at the end to not try and get the win on track because he didn't have to go past Kai.
From Kareem's point of view, we obviously saw he tried the F1 2010 line going through Jingxiao corner. Do you feel there was anything else he could have done there to prevent Ben coming through, or was it just situational, he just couldn't quite get over the line?
Overtake a little bit earlier in the laps, you know, do you leave it that late and kind of hope for a last chance hurrah? Are you going to try and look back at that and go, maybe I should have made the move a couple laps earlier, maybe I shouldn't have let Kai go past? Because obviously the run down the Retta Riposta where they all ended up on the grass, that's probably going to be a changing point looking forwards.
And when we look ahead for the rest of the season, from TMF Marduk's perspective, yes, he isn't in the lead of the championship just yet, with Meraki spawning his way onto the podium. I feel like we hardly spoke about Jake throughout the race, then he turned up in P3, which is what vintage Meraki did in the Creator Series. How much of a confidence boost will this be for him?
Confidence boost? Probably on par with getting a podium. An ego boost, unfortunately, that's off the charts for Meraki. As you said, it's traditional Creator Series for Meraki. Does absolutely nothing all race, ends up on a podium.
100%. Well, I think we should have a bit of a chat with some of our podium sisters. And the best way to start is with our race winner. I think you will all agree. Our Australian ace, the wonder from down under, TMF Marduk. 23 races. It's been 213 days between your last 2 Creator Series wins. But from Silverstone to Sao Paulo, welcome back to the winner's circle, Ben.
Thanks, guys. It's good to be here. It's been a long time coming. I had multiple chances to do it in season 10, and luck by whatever metric, we didn't get there in the end. But we do it today in the 3rd worst cast, so I'm pretty happy.
I want to go back to the wet weather period, because obviously in the early stage you built yourself a really nice buffer over the group behind, and then you had Kareem coming at you lap after lap after lap when your pace yourself was still really strong compared to the rest of the field. How was that period in the race for you?
Stressful. I was watching my race kind of disappear in front of me, but you know, I knew Kareem was going to be quick in the Mercedes. He's the GOAT in the rain, basically. So he was going to be pretty unstoppable. But I was taking comfort in the fact that everyone else, yeah, like you said, was dropping back even quicker behind. So I was like, okay, I might lose the win here, but it'll be P2. I just need to kind of keep Karim behind until we get to dry, and then it's game on again. And I think we just about did that. But like, the safety car came out anyway, so yeah, kind of nullified it all in the end. And we had some really good battles in the dry and in the wet. So yeah, I love that battle.
We did as well. We were watching. We can tell you that one for free. The safety car coming out, of course, did change the strategy up a little bit. You didn't have any medium tyres left to jump onto, and we knew the soft tyres are a little bit rubbish around this circuit. We saw that with Gillen in the early stages. Were you confident that the hard tyres could fire up on the restart?
Not really. The restart was my most nervous part of the race. Karim was waiting for some back markers to come through the field, so join the back of the queue, and we were at like really slow speed. And then it becomes a traction race between me, a cold hard runner, and medium runners. So I was really under pressure. Like, Karim got the jump, and then I was left exposed to Kai and the rest. So I survived turn one. Me and Kai were side by side. But once I like settled in and got the DRS the next lap, then it was all gravy. I was much more relieved after that. But that first lap was like so critical.
And in the championship, I believe you're 1 point off the summit at the moment. Now, you've had your title of being the only driver with multiple Creator Series crowns taken away from you from your old sparring partner, Alex Gillen. But if you could win the title this season, become the first driver with 3 titles, how much would that mean to you?
Oh, it would be awesome. I would love it. This is, why we're here. We're here to put on a good show and here to do well. So yeah, I mean, I would love it, but there's still another 3 races to go, a sprint race, a mystery race next week. So a lot can happen. I'm probably in a slower car now, so you can't even. There could be 3 laps to go, and the win might be guaranteed. But like, it's still, you just never know with Creator Series. Expect the unexpected.
I think that is the perfect way to sum it up. Ben, many congratulations. Back in the winner's circle for the first time in 6 months. Go and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
See you next week indeed. Well, what a storyline. Team McMurdoch back in the winner's circle. There are many more to explore as well. And I think we should talk to the runner-up in this race. The first time was nice. He couldn't quite do it the second time. We saw the F1 2020 line through Jung Shao on the last lap. So close to getting the double, but couldn't quite pull it off in the end.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but from my point of view, I really enjoyed that race. Even though, I'm settling for P2, but it was a banger of a race for me. Coming through the field was tough. The rain, I love driving in the rain. And then, yeah, at the end, the Kai flying past us. I think Ben playing a bit of games there. I think the ending to that race, it had it all, really.
And I think the wet weather period really important because it looked like you bided your time early on. You got into a nice rhythm, started to pit them off one by one. Then when the weather came down, I think you were 13 seconds behind Ben. Chunks of time, every single lap taking out of. How confident were you when the rain was going down?
Well, of course, at first, you have to find your feet. There's no line there to tell me where to brake. So I have to just do it off of feeling and intuition, which is a skill that I feel like I've developed throughout the season. And yeah, once I got settled in, I could see I was pulling away from Lolly, and I could see I was catching Ben. There were a few corners in particular where I was catching him a lot. And yeah, it was just use my knowledge of how to drive in the wet, use my driving techniques, and just push. Because I also knew that the rain was only going to last about 10-15 minutes. So I said to my chat, I was like, we have to make the most of this. And I think we did.
Got very spicy at the end. Really good battles to watch. I'm sure it was enjoyable for yourself as well. Do you think there was anything you could have done differently? Obviously, Kai was the interloper in that with the penalty, just getting in between and then eventually ahead of Ben as well. Do you think there was maybe something you could have done, or was it just a case of wrong place, wrong time?
I think it was a bit of both. I definitely think because Kai had the run on me and Ben anyway because we were battling. Maybe I should have just stayed behind Ben and not battled, and Kai would have been further back. But obviously, when I went onto the grass, I kept one wheel on the track, but I was also losing loads of time. And I think Ben also wanted Kai to come through because he had a 3 seconds, and then Ben gets DRS. So that was probably the deciding moment. So I could have played that differently. But at the same time, Ben was in none on that straight. I think he was backing me into Kai. So whatever I did there, me and Kai would have been wheel to wheel into the next corner. But as for my plan and my, racing line on the final corner, on the final lap, I think I was going to do that regardless of where I was. Maybe not P1. Unless Ben was right behind me, then I would have done it. But yeah, I was trying to keep it clean on the track limits the whole race. I think I had one towards the end, so that left me one spare. I was still able to do it. Not enough, but I thought I would throw some extra spice into it. Why not?
Oh, it was enjoyable. I can tell you that one for free. Going into the rest of the season, though, of course, you're going to be in a faster car now. You don't have the luxury of being in that silver arrow, but with the confidence you've gained in the sprint race and then the feature race as well, the main race, how much do you think you can build on this going into the second half or the back end of the season, I should say?
I think I can. It will depend on the track, but I didn't think I would be that good at this track, and I was. So I think the improvements are showing. I should be fine. And as for the cars, I don't mind too much. These past 2 races, I haven't really wanted a Mercedes, if I'm honest. But that's the position I put myself in from having stinker results. So yeah, I'll take the podium today. I think Qatar in particular, I think I would have done well regardless of the car. Today maybe would have been a bit more difficult coming through the field. But yeah, I don't think I should be in too bad of a car. Maybe if I keep having good results the final few races, I'll be in a bad car. But yeah, I'm not too worried. I'm confident and I'm feeling good.
Love to hear it. Well, thank you for chatting to us, Kareem, 2 times today, of course. A first place and a second place, and the Season 9 champion very much back in the big leagues. Go and enjoy the rest of your evening, my friend.
You too, guys. Thanks for the interview.
Back in the interview room, Kareem, of course. Now, we've got one more person to chat to. Still just about clinging on to the championship lead is our Season 4 champion, Meraki. And even though it might have seemed like a bit of a quiet one for Jake, he still ends up on the podium, and that must end up as a very gratifying result for yourself.
Yeah, like I don't know how I've ended up in P3, really. Like I was what? I think P7 in the Inters or P8, and I was like 6 seconds away from the cars in front of me, and then staying out, I guess, 1 lap later than them just spawned me in P4, and then all I had to do was stay within 3 seconds of Kai, and that was that. I had a podium somehow. So. Yeah.
Because that call on the Inters, because a lot of people did get it wrong. We saw Kareem and Ben go in maybe slightly too early. They were struggling. Yeah. Tukey and Alex managed to get in the mix with them while they were still on the Inters. How confident were you with the call that you made?
Well, regardless, I knew I had to stay out a lap longer than Lolly because he had a 10-second penalty, and I'd already been held behind him in the pits twice that race, so I wasn't going to have that happen again. So I saw my Inters weren't really overheating that much, so that's why I stayed out the extra lap anyway. That was always going to be my plan. So I guess Lolly coming in a lap earlier than me kind of helped me get ahead of him regardless. It got rid of his 10-second and I didn't get held by him. But yeah, my tyres just weren't overheating to the point where I was like, I need to come in. And even still, I still think I came in a lap too early. So yeah, a bit. I don't think it would have made a difference to my race anyway, but yeah, that's that.
And how did you find the overtake? Because obviously for the majority of it, you were buried in the pack a little bit in the sort of lower reaches of the top 10. We saw certain drivers really struggling to make any sort of inroads from sort of outside the top 10. How did you find it?
It wasn't ideal. Like I was kind of like just in the train, really. Like if people went side by side in front of me, I would have just been like, oh, hang on, I can probably get close to them through the middle sector and maybe go, send it down the inside. But it was just following cars for the most part. And then I had Lolly behind me who ended up sending it and going sideways, and I almost got wing damage from that. So that wasn't ideal. That's how he got ahead of me. But yeah, it wasn't very easy to overtake, to be honest. I don't really know what everyone's setup was. Mine didn't really feel great, but yeah, overtaking wasn't the best.
And at the end, got a little bit leery with the 3 in front of you at times. Was there any point in that final few laps that you thought, I might be able to sneak a few more places here?
It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I mean, my only focus was on Kai and his 3-second penalty. Because obviously he was directly in front of me in 3 seconds, and I had Matt 212 and a McLaren behind me, so that's awful. And then I had Gillen behind them. So I was having to constantly try and manage and give Matt 212 DRS so Alex didn't get past him, and stay within 3 seconds of Kai as well. Because if I lose DRS to Kai, Matt 212 overtakes me. If Matt 212 loses DRS to me, Gillen overtakes him and then probably gets up to me as well and sends it on me. So I wasn't really focusing on Karim and Ben, to be honest. It was mainly just Kai, Matt, and Alex that was my focus at the end there. So obviously, if them two crashed, I would have, got the pieces, but they didn't, and we got P3 in the end.
Keeping on racking up those points, of course, still leading the championship. So very well done, Jake. Another podium for you this season. Go enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for jumping in. Well, that is us done with interviews. Nobody else is in there unless we want to go and chat with them once. So I think we should bring our wonderful panel, commentators and pundits back in. But first of all, drivers' standings. I think TK is going to pop back up on stream below me there. Look at how tight that is. It was a difficult one for Raz and Chai, wasn't it? But 3 former champions, 3 points separating them in the top 3 places in the championship.
Yeah, incredibly close up at the top there. And after what is a miraculous win for Tim Amado, putting himself within 1 point of that championship lead. Meraki, I think, will be quaking in his boots because a podium this time around has not been enough to save him.
And if you look at Alex Gillen, the reigning champion, just sneaking up, just inching closer race by race after that slightly tricky start from in the Sauber. I feel like a lot of things went wrong for Gillen this evening, but still ends up with a P4 in the end, and he's still very much in this battle.
He absolutely is, and this is sort of the consistency aspect we've been talking about in seasons and including this season, where you can have these bad races, but the precedent that you've laid down in races gone by is enough just to carry you over those kind of minor blips in the road.
And final question on the standings, my friend Timmy Kettles. Razin Chai was obviously leading early on in the season. Difficult weekend for him now. Finds himself 32 points away from Jake at the top. Do you think that's potentially his charge halted?
I don't think so. I think there's some things going on behind the scenes. From what I remember, he's having some hardware difficulties, we'll put it that way, where he's kind of going back onto old equipment, has been for the last 2 or 3 races. So it could be that where, you've got drivers that are so comfortable on their set equipment that even just switching back to an old wheel, you've lost that muscle memory for buttons and bindings and everything that could be changed, kind of can be changed. Even the pedals down to that sort of finesse of how much you're putting on the throttle. It's going to be a difficult time for Razin to adjust back in an instant. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's going to take time unless he can get his old rig or his new rig sorted out. But even then, he's going to have the same difficulty where he then has to jump back to learn the muscle memory again.
100%. You can also see the impact of having a great weekend because Cream 17, from being down in the doldrums, now nestled inside the top 10. Our commentators are back on screen. Kieran, what a grandstand finish that was. Box office battles right the way through.
I mean, I loved it. That was great. It was, dry to wet to dry. Couple of safety cars bunged in there. Kareem with his absolutely electric pace in the wet. I bet he wanted it to just be intermediates for the entire race. And then the crossover didn't quite happen when Ben and Kareem thought it was going to be. Nevertheless, it was great. And no matter where you look, there was action happening. And as we said, Meraki getting up to P3. What a weekend that was for him. Quiet. Then the safety car comes out and all of a sudden he's 4th on the track. So incredible as well to see the championship right now between 3 drivers, 3 points. Unbelievably close. Can't wait to see how it all plays out in the last few races.
And Carl, if we look at the form book, obviously Alex Gillen's had a couple of difficult weekends, but he still finished, I think, 4th and 5th, which doesn't sound that difficult. Tim McMarlick now has got the monkey off his back in the winner's circle. And Maraki's just been fading a little bit, but has picked himself back up with this podium this evening. It's all up for grabs, isn't it?
For sure. Absolutely. I mean, the championship standings tell you all you need to know. 3 points between the top 3. Just absolutely ridiculous, honestly. So, I mean, I think we're in for a sensational scrap. We've got, 3 rounds to go? 3 rounds to go, 3 points between the top 3. You can't write scripts better than that. Also, I'm just going to say now, for a moment, as TK's name gets changed to Timmy Kettles, hello. For a moment, I thought we were going very south. Don't worry, he's not off to Azkaban yet.
And Timmy, just to come to you very, very quickly, we've seen so many times this season, the interlopers have such a big effect on what happens in the battles at the front. It gets so congested. We have the McLarens and the Red Bulls that aren't necessarily in the title fight, competing right at the sharp end. Concept as well in the Ferrari today. How much of an impact do you think that'll have on the rest of the season?
I think it's a really tough one because I said at the start of the season that I was expecting the typically fast drivers to come back through the fields when we have these longer races. Obviously, the safety cars are going to be bringing a different sort of title and contention for the most part here, because you've got an opportunity for the faster cars to really find their feet again and have that initial pace off the line and off the restarts, and we have seen that, notably in Qatar, and obviously when Sanderson got his podium. So there are opportunities for those faster cars to come through, and actually I think it balances out quite well in the long run. But we are seeing the drivers down the bottom, the Saubers and potentially the Haas cars struggling a little bit more than I would have expected.
100%. We did see Razin have a few issues this evening, and like you said, with the hardware equipment, maybe this might be more apt for the final few rounds of the season. Might find a little bit more pace in his car. But as we finish this one off, we have to go through our panel, of course, to thank them and check out their old social media accounts. So, Kieran, first of all, where can people find you if they want to see what's going on?
If my name just about fits underneath here, just about. Put an S in the middle, you'll normally find me. It's Instagram, X, Facebook, pretty much anywhere you like a social media account. It's probably there with an S in between. I didn't get those names early enough, so it's a bit all over the place.
That's the problem with social media, isn't it? Carl, where can people find you if they want to check out what you're doing?
Well, I'll tell you where you can't find me, Nairobi. You won't find me there. But where you will find me is I have a very distinctive name, Carl Paranik. If you search that up on pretty much anywhere on an internet, you'll probably find me there. Also, while we're here, socials are up there. Go follow them. There's some cool stuff in the pipe.
And finally, Timmy Kettles. I think if people search that on social media, they won't quite find where you are. But where can they find you, TK?
Well, if my camera wants to focus, I'll tell you where you can find me. It's the outer reaches of South Sudan for one weekend only. But if you want to find me on social media, don't search Timmy Kettles, because I have absolutely no idea what's going to come up, and I don't want you to be traumatised and require therapy for several months. But if you want to check me out on social media, I'm They Call Me TK on pretty much every single social platform. And Mr. Tom Wilkinson, how about yourself, sir?
You can find my waffles either on Twitter or Twitch at TW06, or on Instagram and TikTok, wilco.darts or wilco.coms. Cars had to put his glasses on. I think that's because of something that Gareth Allen has been saying in the background. And of course, Glasses Gang coming up here, the short-sighted among us converging. Gareth Allen, he hates every time we shout him out, so we've got to do it every single week. Very good stuff, as always, with the broadcast. Doing very, very well. But that is it from us this week. Championship very much reaching boiling point. 3 former champions, 3 points separating them right at the summit. The fire is burning in all 3 of them, but what will be next week's action, we'll have to wait and see. In 7 days' time, we've been the F1 Creator Series, and until then, have a wonderful rest of your week, and we will see you very, very soon.